Chapter 1. The Fated Villain. Qinlang, you have gone too far. Placing spies around me and sending people to follow my every move. How despicable can you be? The engagement was arranged by our families. I, Mu Yuyin, can unequivocally state that I harbor no affection for you. In fact, I would go so far as to say I detest you. I implore you, cease your incessant pursuit of me. In Tianhai City, at Mu Ren International, within the confines of the president's office, the formidable female Mu Yin, clad in a sleek black business suit, glared fiercely at the seemingly oblivious Qinlang, delivering her admonition with a frigid demeanor. Qinlang, undeterred by her wrath, remained seated on the sofa, his mind reeling as he processed an avalanche of information, his lips twitching slightly. Had he traversed into another realm? Moreover, had he found himself within the pages of a novel he had once avidly read? Ironically, his current persona was not that of the dashing protagonist surrounded by enchanting beauties, but rather that of the notorious villain, relentlessly humiliated by the hero. Qinlang, the sole heir of the prestigious Qin family of Yanjing, was the scion of a lineage steeped in honor and renown. His grandfather was a veritable titan, a figure of immense accomplishment and respect. His father, still in a position of great influence, wielded authority capable of shaking the very foundations of Huaxia with a mere stamp of his foot. His mother, a savvy businesswoman, held substantial stakes in numerous esteemed, state-owned enterprises. Surrounded by the affluent and the elite, he epitomized the essence of a true rich heir, a paragon of privilege. However, the remarkable hand he was dealt at the outset was squandered by the original Qinlang, who had foolishly played the role of a sycophant, groveling before his fiancée Mu Yin. He had sought to eliminate the shield Mu Yuyin had summoned, stealthily positioning his own spies in her vicinity, indulging in a litany of nefarious deeds. Ultimately, he had turned his blade upon the very shield of Yifeng, who had been summoned at great expense by Mu Yuyin, leading to his own demise at the hands of Yifeng. The illustrious family legacy transformed into a stepping stone for Yifeng's ascent, enabling him to rise in power and glory. One could only lament the tragedy of it all. A moment of sycophantic pleasure, culminating in an eventual funeral pyre. Yet, these are the foolish transgressions of a past self. A new individual now occupied this body, and everything was bound to be rewritten. Ding! Host identity confirmed, binding the fated villain system. As a mechanical voice resonated within his mind, Qinlang, well-versed in the tropes of web literature, recognized that his exclusive golden finger had arrived. The fated villain system, as the name implies, was designed to assist him in embracing the role of the ultimate antagonist, crushing the fated children of destiny and transforming into a formidable force. By seizing opportunities that rightfully belonged to the destined ones, he would acquire villain points, which could be exchanged for goods or used in lotteries to enhance his own powers. Having familiarized himself with the workings of the system, Qinlang felt a sense of satisfaction. Compared to the facade of virtue, embracing villainy seemed rather appealing. Indulgence in his own desires was the ultimate delight. Mu Yuyin, observing the occasional smile gracing Qinlang's face, trembled in rage, her entire being quaking with indignation. Had it not been for her vigilant bodyguards, she would have remained blissfully unaware that her office had been infiltrated with listening devices, her private life laid bare for Qinlang's prying ears. As a result, this fellow actually had the audacity to smile. Qinlang, how dare you laugh here? I want to annul our engagement. Having familiarized himself with the system's mechanics, Qinlang slowly lifted his head and responded coldly. Very well. What is happening? Mu Yuyin was bewildered. Did Qinlang actually agree? Not long ago, he had been relentlessly pursuing her, even resorting to installing listening devices in a frenzied manner. Could it truly be that the sun had risen from the west, and she might be liberated from this unfortunate engagement? Qinlang lounged nonchalantly on the sofa with his legs crossed, casually picking up a cup of tea and taking a sip. Go ahead and annul the engagement. I have no objections. Just make sure to clarify things with the Mu family and have them initiate this. You. Mu Yuyin furrowed her brows, fuming as she retorted, "You are being unreasonable." Qinlang chuckled. Unreasonable? Why not mention your Mu family's insatiable greed? And you, Mu Yuyin, should not think too highly of yourself. You believe I am unworthy of you, do you? If not for my Qin family, your Mu family would have been divided among opportunists a decade ago. 10 years prior, the fathers of Mu Yuyin and Qinlang were close friends. However, a tragic accident claimed Mu Yuyin's father, plunging the Mu family into turmoil, attracting countless greedy speculators. It was Qinlang's father who single-handedly stabilized the entire Mu family. In gratitude for the Qin family's benevolence, Mu Yuyin's mother willingly arranged this engagement. Thus, the engagement between Qin Lang and Mu Yuyin was a desperate plea for self-preservation from the Mu family. Reflecting on this, Qin Lang could not help but scoff at the original owner's foolishness. He possessed a trump card, yet chose to play the sycophant. Did he not understand that in a woman's heart, a sycophant is even less than a mere backup? There is another option before you, to feign that this engagement is still ongoing, albeit for a limited time. One day, should I feel inclined, I might just cast you aside, Qin Lang said with a smile. Ah, the daughter of destiny. Her fortune was considerable before squeezing her dry. How could he overlook such a useful tool for exploitation? Mu Yuyin clenched her silver teeth. That is impossible. If you act recklessly, what shall I do? Qin Lang shook his head. You see, your thoughts are far too sordid. How can you think that way? It is merely pretending to be a couple in front of outsiders. If you truly refuse, then I must ask you to return to the Mu family and have them initiate the annulment. What might transpire afterward, I cannot guarantee. To expect to reap the benefits of a Qin family without any cost? What naive notion! Is there truly such a thing as a free lunch in this world? Mu Yuyin furrowed her brow, engulfed in deep conflict. She was well aware of the implications if the Mu family were to make such a request. Should Qin Lang annul the engagement, there would be no doubt that the Mu family would lose face, yet they would find no recourse against the Qin family. If Mu Yuyin were to call off the engagement, the implications would be entirely different. Qin Lang is the legitimate grandson of the Qin family, the sole heir destined to inherit their legacy. Such actions would undoubtedly be a slap in the face to the Qin family. Henceforth, one could hardly expect the protection of the Qin family. Rather, she might find herself in a precarious situation, as if her ancestors were turning over in their graves. Even though she harbored a profound aversion to being with Qin Lang, she understood that enduring prolonged suffering was less desirable than a swift resolution. If she were to reject this agreement, it would seem that her only future prospect would be to marry Qin Lang. Very well. I accept your terms, but you must adhere to your promise of dissolving the engagement. Mu Yian inhaled deeply, her enchanting eyes gleaming with resolute determination. Ding! The plot has shifted. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 1,000 points of villainous fortune. Qin Lang remained silent, rising to take Mu Yian's delicate hand, leading her outside. She instinctively struggled, but his words halted her. Are you really unwilling to let me annul our engagement? Can't a couple even hold hands? She decided to dismiss it, as if merely being playfully pestered. A surge of resentment coursed through Mu Yuyan's mind. Ding! The protagonist Mu Yuyan is exhibiting emotional fluctuations. Congratulations to the host for receiving an additional 300 points of destined villainy. Qin Lang paid no heed to her thoughts, his gaze brazenly surveying her graceful form as he chuckled wickedly. For a young lady, especially one as lovely as yourself, I would advise against wearing such tight-fitting attire. Your alluring figure might attract unsavory attention. I followed 2 last night. Chapter 2. The Lottery. A surge in charisma points. Mu Yian's beautiful eyes reflected her discomfort. Unaware of the underlying jest, she had only heard whispers of Qin Lang's reputation, filled with dissatisfaction. As the office door swung open, Mu Yian's female bodyguard, upon seeing the two of them hand in hand, inquired with suspicion, Mississippi, what's going on here? Qin Lang, emboldened, wrapped his arm around Mu Yian's slender waist. Is it so shocking for a couple to be affectionate? Mu Yian trembled slightly, dismissing it as if merely being playfully tackled by a dog, and feigned nonchalance. Ding! The protagonist Mu Yuyan is experiencing intense emotional fluctuations. Congratulations to the host for gaining an additional 600 points of destined villainy. For the next half-day, Qin Lang continued to embrace Mu Yuyan, parading around the company that he relished considerable advantages while amassing a total of 6,800 points of villainous fortune. The spree of exploiting Mu Yuyan came to a close after dinner at the Timu Run International. As they bid farewell with an embrace that prompted Mu Yuyan to shyly retreat, Qin Lang turned and entered his Maybach. Accompanied by 4 Mercedes-AMG vehicles, he proceeded grandly towards his villa. Seated in the back, Qin Lang reflected on the situation. Mu Yuyan's disdain for the original identity was palpable. Her meticulous nature meant that he could only enjoy minor gains for now. To think she would shy away in embarrassment? Was she so easily swayed? It was all an act, a facade to create an illusion of reconciliation. Qin Lang felt no urgency. He would take his time, as the fated daughter of the original work. Mu Yian holds a position of considerable stature. Naturally, she is an exceedingly vital component of his intricate plans. The situation has improved significantly. At the very least, I have shed the ingrained impression of being a sycophant. Yet, there remains much work to be done. Qin Lang mused, silently invoking the system panel in his mind. Character: Qin Lang. Age: 25. Physique: 6 kidney deficiency. Charm: 85. Fated villain value, 6,800. Skills, none. Store, not yet activated. Lottery center, activating each lottery. Draw consumes 100 fated villain values. Gazing at the character introduction, Qin Lang began to voice his grievances. System, this is excessive. Kidney deficiency? As a transmigrator, is it fair for the host to endure such an unjust fate? This boat's kidney deficiency poses a significant issue. You must rectify this bug. The system's mechanical voice echoed once more, devoid of any emotion. The host is merely transmigrating and bears no relation to the physique of the original work's antagonist. The likelihood of the host experiencing kidney deficiency is manifold, including but not limited to stunted development and excessive fatigue. Enough, enough. Spare me the details, just grant me the novice gift pack. Qin Lang hastily interjected, fearing that further discussion might precipitate a catastrophic event. Ding. The novice gift pack is ready for collection. Would you like to receive it? Yes. Ding. Congratulations. The host has obtained the skill Affinity LV1 Group Affinity 10, 100 fated villain values required for LV2 upgrade. The cost doubles with each upgrade. Ding. Congratulations. The host has acquired Physique Improvement Pills. 10 each pill increases the host physique by 1. Ding. Congratulations. The host has gained Charm 13. These are splendid items. Qin Lang's eyes brightened. With the Affinity skill, stepping outside would essentially grant him an added layer of charm enhancement, akin to a buff. He waved his hand grandly, expending a cumulative total of 3,100 fated villain values to elevate his affinity to LV6. Concurrently, he consumed 10 physique improvement pills, augmenting his physique by 10 points. With a normal physique averaging around 10, and now at 16, Qin Lang had decisively bid farewell to kidney deficiency, AS for his charm. That translates to an imperceptible elevation in his attractiveness. With a near-perfect score of 98 in charm, one could scarcely find another man whose looks could rival Qin Lang's, except perhaps for someone lounging on a bed, one foot resting on the other, chuckling at their screen. With his charm score of 98, the subsequent execution of Qin Lang's plans became considerably more manageable. Lottery draw, 10 consecutive draws. Let's expend all the remaining fated villain values. Ding. Congratulations. The host has gained Physique 1. Ding. Congratulations. The host has acquired basic piano skills. Ding. Congratulations. The host has obtained intermediate piano skills. Ding. Congratulations. The host has received a photo album of Aunt Shio. Once the fated villain values were depleted, Qin Lang's attribute panel had undergone a remarkable transformation. Character: Qin Lang. Age: 25. Physique: 26. Charm: 98. Fated villain values: 0 skills. Affinity LV6 Group Affinity 60. Advanced piano skills: Advanced T-Art. Store: not yet opened. Lottery center: currently in operation. Each lottery consumes 100 Destiny Villain points. System backpack: a photo album of Aunt Shio. Qingfeng Tissue 3. Not bad aside from a few peculiar items drawn. The rest are quite useful. After closing the attributes panel, Qin Lang instructed his driver and bodyguard, Junzi, on our way back, there are certain individuals and matters that require your attention. Qin Lang meticulously detailed his instructions, aware that while he understood the plot, some elements demanded timeliness, must receive information promptly. Understood. Junzi's smiling face was reflected in the rearview mirror. Young master, rest assured, I am quite adept at reconnaissance and surveillance. Typically, Junzi would not dare to jest with Qin Lang in such a manner. After all, the young master's moods were unpredictable, and one could never tell when he might suddenly become erratic. However, today was different. Even Junzi, a man, felt that the young master appeared more handsome, particularly with that remarkably amiable countenance. Same meaning. Qin Lang did not dispute. Having traversed into this familiar narrative world, there remained some time before the return of the mercenary king, Yifeng. While Yifeng was yet to return, he must cultivate relationships based on all he knew of the plot. For to vanquish Yifeng solely by brute force would likely be futile. He needed to seize opportunities instead. After all, that fellow was the son of fate. It was entirely possible that even if shot in the heart and falling from a cliff, he could be rescued by a passing female NPC, leading to a captivating love story. Until he acquired the skill to immunize himself against the protagonist's halo, the only means to defeat the son of fate lay in exploiting his predetermined opportunities. As a Maybach convoy entered the urban expressway, Qin Lang's expression took on a mischievous air. The mercenary king, is it? The leader of the Blood Wolf mercenary corps? Haha, I wonder how much destiny villain value this son of fate will bestow upon me. I eagerly anticipate the moment our paths cross when the narrative begins. Chapter 3. The rustic Su Xiao Xiao. Upon returning to the opulent villa, Qin Lang felt no sense of discomfort. Before his time travel, he was already a wealthy young tycoon, having amassed his fortune of billions through sheer determination and hard work. There is no right or wrong in capital. The accumulation of wealth is a process often paved with sacrifice. This realization is what led Qin Lang to believe he was not a good person. Reclining comfortably on the European-style sofa, he gently swirled the wine in his goblet, while in front of him stood a timid young girl, her head bowed and nervously clutching the hem of her clothing. Junzi, with a stern expression, informed him that the housekeeper had accidentally shattered his treasured Yuan dynasty blue and white porcelain. Hearing Junzi's angry voice, Su Xiaoxiao trembled, her fingers intertwining until the tips turned white. No matter her impoverished circumstances, she understood the immense value that the phrase Yuan dynasty added to the blue and white porcelain. And now, this precious antique lay in ruins because of her. Qin Lang raised his gaze and scrutinized the small girl before him. Standing just over 1.60 meters, her slender frame made the blue and white cleaning uniform appear oversized. Yet, this seemingly plain girl was none other than Su Xiaoxiao, one of the prominent heroines from the original story. Despite her current appearance, clad in a drab uniform, Su Xiaoxiao was a significant character in the narrative. She and Yifeng had grown up together in the same orphanage, sharing a deep bond that held great importance in Yifeng's heart. Furthermore, due to the incident of the shattered vase, the original Qin Lang had oppressed Su Xiaoxiao and set his sights on acquiring the land of the orphanage, forging a bitter enmity between them. This conflict later escalated into a direct confrontation with Yifeng, resulting in a dramatic turn of events where Yifeng heroically rescued her. Of course, that was all ancient history. Qin Lang took a delicate sip of red wine, savoring the moment as he addressed her. Su Xiaoxiao? Young Master Qin, I realize my mistake. It was truly unintentional. I will compensate you for the broken porcelain. Please grant me some time. Su Xiaoxiao stammered, her words hurried due to her overwhelming anxiety. Summoning her courage, she raised her gaze to meet the fierce countenance described by her colleagues, only to be met with a refreshing sense of calm that dispelled her fears. One exquisite visage, such a gentle gaze, like a jade figure amidst the flowers. He was a paragon of elegance. Why then? Was this refined gentleman perceived as a capricious tyrant by her colleagues? Had she been misled? Qin Lang was pleased with Su Xiaoxiao's reaction. He beckoned her closer, and as she approached, he pulled her down onto the sofa, gently grasping her delicate chin with one hand. Her exquisite features resembled those of a gentle lady, with captivating eyes that sparkled like misty waters. Her finely arched brows furrowed slightly, and her dainty nose twitched ever so slightly, as he felt the warmth of her breath against his hand. Her lips, untouched by modern cosmetics, glimmered with a natural blush. It must be said that, setting aside her figure, Su Xiaoxiao's beauty undoubtedly scores above 95. What do you intend to do, young Master Qin? Su Yoyo's cheeks flashed crimson, her gaze darting nervously to the side, stammering in anxiety. Nearby, Junzi silently pondered. Has the young master taken leave of his senses today? How could he possibly desire someone as unsophisticated as her? Nevertheless, a bodyguard who has remained by the side of the original owner for such an extended period naturally possesses his own skills. And he swiftly turned to exit the living room, making a silent declaration. I have seen nothing. What do you expect? Qin Lang chuckled at the question, addressing her. A mere cleaner. What else could you want from me? You shattered my precious blue and white porcelain and yet dare to speak of compensation? What means you have to repay? That piece of porcelain cost me 8 million at auction. How long would it take you to repay me with your cleaning salary? 10 years, or perhaps 100. Su Xiaoxiao was rendered speechless by the staggering figure of 8 million. Such an enormous sum. Even if she were to abstain from all consumption for a lifetime, she could never amass it. The poor girl, reflecting on her blunder, felt tears shimmering in her eyes, and with a choked voice, implored, Young Master Qin, I truly do not know how to compensate you. According to the background information provided by the intermediary, you grew up in the Sunshine Orphanage and are well-liked. If you could persuade the director of that orphanage to sell it to me at a low price, we could dismiss the matter of the porcelain entirely. Su Xiaoxiao immediately shook her head, declaring no, that is impossible. She had long heard rumors of companies wanting to acquire the land of the orphanage, and now, even Qin Lang wished to partake in the spoils. She was no longer a child. In light of such circumstances, she began to suspect that shattering the porcelain might be a conspiracy to coerce her into persuading the director to sell the orphanage's land. Since that was not feasible, it must be handled in an official capacity. You have broken my collectible, and according to its value, The loss must be assessed at no less than several million. If you have the money, repay your debt. If not, then you shall languish in prison. Qin Lang retracted his hand, lounging nonchalantly on the sofa, his eyes narrowed, revealing no trace of emotion. Time was of the essence before Yi Feng's return. He could not afford to squander it on Su Xiaoxiao, and even a month of unwavering kindness towards her would likely pale in comparison to the years of intimacy shared with childhood friends. To utilize Su Xiaoxiao as a means to undermine Yi Feng, he must secure a more significant place in her heart. Their relationship needed to be forged deeper and more indelibly. What are you still doing here? Will you voluntarily confess? Or shall I call the authorities to take you away? Qin Lang pressed coldly. Su Xiaoxiao panicked. She had heard that female inmates could be ruthless, and if she were imprisoned, she would surely be bullied daily. Plop. After much hesitation, Su Xiaoxiao relinquished her final shred of dignity and knelt before Qin Lang, bowing her head in a state of trepidation. Qin Xiao, I implore you for another chance, she pleaded. I am willing to work for you, as long as it is within the bounds of the law. I can assist you with anything, cleaning, laundry, cooking. I assure you I excel at all these tasks. Qin Lang regarded her with suspicion. Cleaning? Are you suggesting you would handle the delicate task of maintaining a Yuan dynasty blue and white porcelain piece without mishap? The author interjects, Chapter 4, The Young Master Has Changed. I will not make such mistakes again, Su Xiaoxiao insisted, shaking her head vigorously. She felt utterly helpless, aware of her faults and devoid of any means to make amends. The thought of Qin Xiao reporting her to the authorities terrified her. She could face serious consequences. Qin Lang narrowed his eyes, contemplating for a moment before slowly responding. The cook in the villa indeed lacks skill, and we could use a full-time housekeeper. Very well, you may stay on a trial basis. If you prove capable, you may remain. If not, we shall see. Capable indeed. I am absolutely capable. Su Xiaoxiao responded eagerly, nodding fervently. Ding. The plot has shifted. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 1,000 villain points. The villain points have been credited. A subtle smile played upon Qin Lang's lips, his expression shifting from one of gentle warmth to a hint of mischief. Whether you are capable will only be revealed through your performance. Let us set your salary at 10,000 per month, including room and board. 10,000. Su Xiaoxiao gasped in astonishment. Qin Lang, perplexed, queried, Is that insufficient? Not all. It is far too generous, she exclaimed, shaking her head innocently. As a cleaner, she toiled tirelessly for a mere 5,000 a month, and that without accommodations or meals. This offer felt like a windfall from the heavens. Ding! The protagonist, Su Xiaoxiao, has experienced an emotional surge. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 200 villain points. Qin Lang was amused by Su Xiaoxiao's expression of sheer delight. In the original narrative, she was depicted as an exceptionally kind-hearted girl, and witnessing her genuine joy confirmed her reputation. Her simplicity was striking. She did not perceive her salary as low, but rather as exceedingly generous. If unscrupulous capitalists do not exploit such naive young women, who then will they exploit? 10,000 a month? To Su Xiaoxiao, it was indeed a fortune. However, the caveat was the need to compensate for the Yuan dynasty porcelain worth 8 million. Even if she calculated without any other expenses, Su Xiaoxiao, in her early 20s, would need nearly 70 years of labor to repay that debt. Having been sold, Su Xiaoxiao felt a strange sense of happiness, believing she had encountered a benevolent employer. Her heart brimmed with gratitude and appreciation. Changes come gradually, step by step. After arranging matters concerning Su Xiaoxiao, Qin Lang returned to his bedroom. He dialed the number of Mu Yuyin, which he had just hung up on, and upon connection, asked curiously, "What is it?" It was the first time Mu Yuyin had called him, and it piqued his interest. After a brief pause, she replied stiffly, "Come to my house tomorrow. I'm unavailable," he retorted before promptly disconnecting the call. To offer unsolicited favors is either a sign of ulterior motives or deceit. He certainly did not perceive himself as possessing such great charm that, within a single day, he could utterly transform Mu Yuyin's perspective. Ding! The heroine Mu Yuyin experienced a significant emotional upheaval. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 500 villain points. Soon after, the phone rang again. And despite Mu Yuyin's typically amiable disposition, she found it increasingly difficult to maintain her composure. This was the second time. Being repeatedly hung up on was something she never anticipated encountering with Qin Lang. Indeed, men are fickle creatures, changing their hearts faster than they can change their faces. My mother is here and specifically requests your presence for a meal. At the very least, we are still contractual lovers, and according to our agreement, you ought to come. Mu Yin said, striving to suppress her irritation, her tone rather curt. What time? Tomorrow at noon. All right. Before they could exchange more words, the call was abruptly terminated. Ding! The heroine Mu Yin experienced yet another intense emotional fluctuation. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 600 villain points. Listening to the mechanical system prompt, Qin Lang clicked his tongue. Whether he refused or accepted, villain points were still at stake. Mu Yin was practically a mobile treasure trove, producing villain points at an astonishing rate. He tossed his phone aside, reclined on the soft bed, stretched lazily, and began pondering his next strategic moves, eventually drifting into slumber. At 6 o'clock, having grown accustomed to early rising, Qin Lang opened his eyes punctually. After dressing, he descended the stairs and discovered breakfast laid out on the dining table. Steamed buns, soy milk, fried dough sticks, and millet porridge, all perfectly arranged. Nearby, Su Xiaoxiao was still slumbering, clad in a blue and white cleaning uniform, her delicate and even breaths indicating she was in a deep sleep. He surveyed the expansive villa, which had only recently become their home. Some areas remained untouched, gathering a slight layer of dust. Yet, after just one night, everything was immaculate and spotless. It was evident without a doubt that Su Xiaoxiao had toiled throughout the night. In this three-story villa, spanning nearly 700 square meters, the transformation was a testament to her dedication to the job, a genuine desire to avoid dismissal, or perhaps a fear of incarceration. Coughing slightly while sitting at the head of the table, Qin Lang inadvertently choked, the sound startling the still-sleeping Su Xiaoxiao awake. She rubbed her bleary eyes, her delicate face slightly flushed where her hand had rested against it. Upon seeing Qin Lang at the head of the table, she instantly became alert, stammering, "Qin Xiao, is the breakfast I prepared not to your liking? I only know how to make these home-style dishes. If you find them unsuitable, I can learn to cook other things. I pick things up quickly and will certainly be able to fulfill this role." Taking a bite of the bun, Qin Lang shook his head. "No need. It tastes quite good. Breakfast should be light. The clothes to be changed are in the bathroom. Please do not use the washing machine." Su Xiaoxiao nadie der mistri. Carefully pulling the chair back to avoid any jarring noise, then somewhat dazedly made her way toward the bathroom on the second floor. Before long, General Qin Lang's servant was summoned while he was enjoying breakfast. He pointed to a nearby seat and invited him to sit down and eat. The servant, with a sheepish smile, shook his head, saying, "Young master, I have already eaten." After finishing the bun he held with his chopsticks, Qin Lang casually remarked, later, "Please instruct someone to prepare a bedroom for Su Xiaoxiao to use as a resting place." The servant gazed at Su Xiaoxiao, who was bustling on the second floor, and softly murmured, "Young master, you can't possibly intend to keep this girl, can you?" Qin Lang, sipping his millet porridge, lifted his head slightly and cast a sidelong glance. Asking why not, the servant wore an awkward smile, saying, "It's not that it's impossible, but this breakfast seems rather too plain, doesn't it?" A glance at the light breakfast on the table revealed a stark contrast to the sumptuous meals prepared by the villa's previous cook, akin to the difference between heaven and earth. If Su Xiaoxiao were an exquisite beauty, one might understand, but she appeared rather rustic, resembling a country girl, which made the servant question the young master's intentions. He noticed that not only had the young master become more handsome and refined, but his thoughts also seemed increasingly enigmatic. The author has a note. Chapter 5, Su Xiaoxiao feels wronged. "How is the investigation I asked you to conduct progressing?" Qin Lang inquired, wiping the corner of his mouth with a nonchalant demeanor. The servant's smile faded, and he grew serious as he reported, "Bai Xiaoyun and Bai Ruyu are sisters from a Bai family in Tianhai City. One is still studying, while the other serves as the acting general manager at the family company. As for Qiu Jiu'er, her identity is somewhat sensitive, seemingly deeply entangled with the Black Dragon Society." Qin Lang nodded, acknowledging the satisfactory efficiency. "Is there sufficient manpower?" The servant replied with a wry smile. "The Bai sisters have bodyguards, and Qiu Jiu'er is always surrounded by a group, making it impossible for ordinary individuals to follow them. We must mobilize skilled personnel from the villa security team. The number of bodyguards of the villa must not be diminished. If there aren't enough, recruit more, and ensure they are trustworthy." "You will manage this," Qin Lang stated, his gaze fixed on him with approval. "You may decide on their compensation, and, starting today, all bodyguard salaries will rise by 5,000, while yours will increase by 10,000. The servant was momentarily dazed, followed by a wave of profound gratitude. To be entrusted with the recruitment of private bodyguards signified a significant elevation in his status within the young master's eyes. Heaven has eyes. The young master is no longer merely a frivolous playboy. He thought. Work diligently, and it won't be long before you have a car, a house. And you won't have to scrimp to visit the Lotus Club 3 or 4 times a month. Once wealthier, you could reside there daily. Qin Lang said, patting the servant on the shoulder. As a veteran of the Special Forces, the servant was undoubtedly a skilled fighter, capable of holding his ground against Yifeng, who had just returned from abroad for countless rounds. Moreover, in terms of loyalty, he was more than qualified to be a bodyguard. In the original story, in order to protect Qin Lang, he was willing to sacrifice his own life to intercept the pursuing Yifeng, enduring severe injury that could leave him gravely disabled, all to temporarily safeguard a flicker of life for Qin Lang. How could such a staunchly loyal man not earn Qin Lang's willingness to relinquish a portion of his power? Young master, Junzi gritted his teeth, sincerely grasping the hand that Qin Lang had placed on his shoulder. Rest assured, I shall fulfill the task. From this moment on, if you bid me to go east, I shall not venture west. If you ask me to chase a chicken, I will not pursue a dog. Very well, I believe in you, Qin Lang replied, subtly applying pressure to withdraw his hand. Let us bring the car in and accompany me to purchase a few garments. Though there were countless outfits at home, enough for a different ensemble each day without repetition for a month, Qin Lang could not align with the original owner's taste. He seemed to crave the ostentation of flaunting brand names, as if fearing others might be unaware of the value of his attire, practically inviting the world to recognize him as a second-generation wealthy heir. In contrast, Qin Lang favored a more understated elegance. He glanced at Su Xiaoxiao, who was bustling about on the second floor, and called out to her, "Come down." Su Xiaoxiao appeared somewhat flustered, her cheeks still adorned with remnants of foam. Stepping closer, Qin Lang gently brushed his fingers against her cheek, startling Su Xiaoxiao into retreating a step, bashfully lowering her head. "Qin Xiao, is there something you wish to instruct me?" Qin Lang assessed her slender figure, noting the glaring blue and white cleaning attire. "Come with me. Choose a few outfits for yourself. It is rather unsightly to wander about the house in that cleaning uniform." Su Xiaoxiao hesitated, but eventually nodded in agreement. She considered mentioning that she had clean clothes in her rented apartment. But after a night of cleaning, especially in the face of the villa's opulence, she felt that donning her previous attire while serving as a maid would tarnish Qin Lang's status. Fearing that her choice of clothing might evoke his distaste and lead to her dismissal, she resolved to spend some of her savings on a couple of slightly more expensive outfits. Junzi drove Qin Lang and Su Xiaoxiao to the mall before heading off to park the car. Upon entering the mall, the pair attracted considerable attention. Wow, what a handsome young master. He must be from a wealthy family, truly striking and well-built. Oh my, he smiled at me. Goodness, how can someone possess such a soothing smile? I feel faint. He is the Prince Charming of my dreams. Who is that cleaning lady walking so closely beside him? Is she trying to be noticed? She ought to take a look in the mirror to assess her own worth. How shameless. Does she think proximity will earn her a glance from the handsome man? In her cleaning uniform, Su Xiaoxiao trailed closely behind Qin Lang, subjected to the scrutinizing gazes of passers-by, her heart racing as she lowered her head, unable to meet their eyes. Qin Lang's demeanor radiated the aura of a prince from an ancient royal court, evoking genuine admiration and awe from all who beheld him. She resembled a humble maid, so lowly that she seemed unworthy to stand beside Qin Lang. Subconsciously, she took a step back, distancing herself. Just pick 2 items from this store, Qin Lang instructed, halting at the entrance of a women's clothing boutique. He left Su Xiaoxiao behind and proceeded inside to browse on his own. He entered a shop specializing in suits designed by an Italian private designer and selected several outfits, changing out of his ostentatious attire that reeked of wealth into a suit, which rendered him more understated and reserved. "Sir, if I didn't follow you daily, I would almost think you had been to Korea. It's astonishing. You appear transformed. Significantly more handsome," Junzi exclaimed sincerely, devoid of flattery, genuinely awed by the revitalized Qin Lang. Adjusting his tie, Qin Lang accepted the receipt from a starry-eyed saleswoman and casually tossed it into the garment bag, smiling without rebuttal. Is a charm value of 98 a joke? He glanced at his watch, nearly 10 o'clock, and Su Xiaoxiao was still not ready. Junzi, laden with bags, volunteered, "I'll go find her. Given your current ensemble, it would be wise to return the clothes to the car and wait outside," Qin Lang suggested, shaking his head. "I'll seek her out." Upon returning to the previous boutique, he glanced inside, but did not spot Su Xiaoxiao. Instead, he noticed a familiar blue and white striped outfit at the corner. Approaching, he discovered Su Xiaoxiao, clad in a janitor's uniform, curled up in a corner, sobbing uncontrollably. "What is going on? Is selecting 2 pieces of clothing that challenging? Why are you crying here? Have you chosen your outfits? Qin Lang's expression hardened as he reprimanded her coldly. Young Master Qin, may I switch to another store? The one you chose is too expensive. I cannot afford it. Su Xiaoxiao choked out, her words fragmented. One hand wiping away tears while the other rested uncertainly on her abdomen, as if seeking comfort from an invisible shield. Qin Lang frowned icily. Switch stores? How does that differ from what you typically wear? This is the place. We're going inside now. His tone was resolute, leaving no room for dissent. Su Xiaoxiao lowered her gaze, following him like a timid attendant as they re-entered the store. Oh dear, who lacks the sense to taint the freshly cleared air? A young woman bedecked in gold and jewels approached, delicately pinching her nose as if repulsed by an unpleasant odor, feigning a gagging motion. She looked disdainfully at Su Xiaoxiao and rolled her eyes. Were you not the one I just saw? A janitor shopping at a Fendi boutique. Does this seem appropriate for you? Do you really think that after 2 months of cleaning, you could afford even a handbag? I can afford it. Su Xiaoxiao resolutely approached the counter and glanced at the price of the handbag. That string of figures made her vision blur momentarily. She feared that her actions might cause the young master to lose face, leading to her dismissal. Such a fate would result in her being handed over to the police, forever ruining her life. I will not buy a handbag. I will purchase clothes instead, Su Xiaoxiao declared, moving to the clothing rack, wandering back and forth without selecting a single item. 9,888, 8,888, 11,800, having examined dozens of garments. The least expensive was still over 8,000. Su Xiaoxiao initially had that amount. After working for over a year, she had saved up 50,000 through frugality. However, recently the director had organized a fundraiser for the orphanage, and she had generously donated 45,000 in one go. Now, she was left with only 5,000, which, after paying her rent in advance, would suffice for her daily expenses for nearly 4 months if she were careful. Yet, when it came to luxury items, even a single Fendi garment was beyond her reach. A flamboyant woman stood at the front of the clothing rack, fanning the air in front of her nose with a mocking expression. What is the matter? Didn't you say you could afford it? Why don't you pick something and pay for it? Why are you just wandering around here? If you can afford it, buy it. Dragons give birth to dragons. Phoenixes to phoenixes. A mouse's offspring digs holes. You, a commoner from the lower strata of society, should remain in your designated rubbish heap and not sully this upscale establishment. You pollute the air and offend my eyes. What of it? I earn my money honestly. Why should I come here? Is this store your family's? Su Xiaoxiao trembled, her slender frame quivering with indignation. I haven't forced you to look at me. How dare you say such things? Although I am wearing cleaning attire, I am impeccably clean and carry no foul odor. Why do you insult me? I have never provoked you. Why must you bully me? Hurt and battered by the insults, Su Xiaoxiao resembled a scrappy little wildcat, fiercely retorting towards the flamboyant woman. Yet, her timid nature betrayed her. Even in her anger, her rebukes grew weaker, akin to a creature that, unable to win a fight or an argument, could only curl up in a dark corner, quietly licking its wounds. Oh heavens, can you stop crying here? If you must weep, return to your rubbish heap. You're unbearable. Hasn't anyone noticed? We're the sales assistants. We customers are your deities. Can't you prevent such cleaners from entering? To conflate my taste with that of a cleaner is an affront. Amid the flamboyant woman's pretentious tirades, Qin Lang crouched beside Su Xiaoxiao, offering her a silk scarf. Stop crying. Wipe your tears. Thank you. Su Xiaoxiao instinctively accepted the scarf, dabbing her tears and gently sniffing at her delicate nose. She rose to her feet, clutching the silk scarf in her hand, her eyes cast down in embarrassment as she spoke to Qin Lang. I'm so sorry for dirtying your scarf. I shall wash it clean and return it to you. This scarf is not mine, Qin Lang replied, gesturing towards the display cabinet nearby from which he had taken it. Oh, Su Xiaoxiao stood frozen, her expression one of shock. You all. The glamorous woman, witnessing this scene, was on the verge of fainting from anger. That scarf was one she had coveted for a long time, having hesitated to purchase it for her boyfriend, only to find it now being used by Su Xiaoxiao to wipe her nose. You are doomed. What bad luck. You can't even afford a single piece of clothing, and yet you have sullied a limited edition Fendi scarf. Do you have any idea how much this scarf costs? 42,000. Even I have not yet made up my mind to buy it, and you have managed to dirty it. Chapter 7. The ugly duckling becomes a black swan under the melodramatic tones of the glamorous woman. The sales assistant, who had been deliberately avoiding the scene, could no longer restrain herself and approached. Upon witnessing the spectacle, she felt a chill run down her spine. I didn't mean to, Su Xiaoxiao stammered. nervously clutching the scarf, her spirit nearly vanquished by fear. I promise I will take it home and wash it clean before returning it. The sales assistant shook her head sadly. That won't do, dear. According to our store policy, this scarf can no longer be resold. In the astonished gazes of the three women, Qin Lang took the scarf and gently wiped it across Su Xiaoxiao's nose as if compelled by an obsession. And with a satisfied sigh remarked, now, it is finally clean. He examined the scarf again, lamenting, what a pity, it's now a bit soiled and cannot be used. How about I purchase it and gift it to you? The scarf was then offered to the glamorous woman. She was momentarily taken aback and instinctively inquired, why would you give it to me? Qin Lang revealed a warm smile that felt like a gentle spring breeze. After all, dirt goes well with dirt. How dare you insult me? The glamorous woman acknowledged that ever since Su Xiaoxiao had entered the store, her scathing remarks had intensified, largely due to the presence of Qin Lang beside her. She felt jealousy and envy. How dare a lowly cleaner stand next to such a handsome man? Yet now, it felt as if Qin Lang was about to label her as a disgrace, and she erupted in fury, baring her teeth and shouting, do you know who my husband is? Qin Lang innocently shook his head. No, why don't you call him over so I can meet him? You just wait. If I don't make you remember today, I'll take on your surname. The glamorous woman twisted her waist and, resembling a pouting teddy bear, stormed off. Young Master Qin. Su Xiaoxiao, a bit dazed, held the scarf aloft, her heart racing. Did young Master Qin just stand up for me? No, that couldn't he be. How could someone like him possibly defend her? What right did she have? Surely, it was just that he was annoyed by that woman's raucousness and had decided to send her away. Qin Lang chuckled lightly, and the passive skill affinity triggered a critical hit. His warm smile was akin to a gentle summer breeze, soothing the flustered heart of Su Xiaoxiao, bestowing upon her a refreshing sense of tranquility. In an instant, her cheeks flushed crimson, reminiscent of a ripe apple. Ding! The protagonist Su Xiaoxiao experienced a surge of intense emotions. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 800 villain points. If you like this scarf, keep it. It's already been used. If not, feel free to discard it as mere refuse. Su Xiaoxiao clutched the scarf tenderly, shaking her head reluctantly. I can't throw it away, but I cannot afford it. Qin Lang replied matter-of-factly, I suggested you buy a few new outfits. It is a necessary provision for a caretaker. This scarf is also a gift for you. He pointed to several garments displayed in the shop, patting Su Xiaoxiao's delicate shoulder. Try this one, and that piece over there. Unable to refuse Qin Lang's request, Su Xiaoxiao obediently took the clothes handed to her by the sales assistant and entered the fitting room. Before long, a transformed Su Xiaoxiao emerged, adorned in an elegant long dress. The black ensemble, cinched at the waist, featured a fitted bodice that accentuated her curves, delicately outlined with semi-transparent lace at the most alluring part of her figure, creating an air of tantalizing anticipation. Her long, slender legs, elevated by strappy high heels, added to her height, while her naturally charming visage lent her an aura of youthful vivacity. The sales assistant's eyes sparkled with admiration as she exclaimed, absolutely stunning. Being in the fashion industry, she understood the adage that one's appearance is greatly influenced by attire. With her new outfit, Su Xiaoxiao transformed from an ugly duckling into a striking black swan. The contrast was astounding and unprecedented. In comparison, Qin Lang appeared remarkably composed. As the female lead, how could Su Xiaoxiao's beauty be anything less than striking? Her previous life had been one of hardship, marked by inadequate nourishment and ill-fitting clothing, leaving her seemingly ordinary. However, after living in his villa for a while and receiving some refinement, Su Xiaoxiao would undoubtedly rival the likes of Mu Yuyan from Murun International. This one is lovely. Wrap it up, and let us try another, Qin Lang decided with ease. Cautiously, Su Xiaoxiao emerged once more from the fitting room, this time donning a white camisole that elegantly revealed her translucent collarbone, showcasing her smooth and sinuous curves, alluding to her slender figure. She paired it with a pale pink skirt that barely brushed above her knees, a daring choice she had never attempted before. Feeling bashful yet emboldened, she gazed in Qin Lang's direction, her voice barely audible. Do I look good, Qin Xiao? You look splendid. Let us wrap it up, on to the next. One after another, Su Xiaoxiao tried on over 10 outfits, each fitting her exquisitely, some pure, some playful, and others exuding an air of elegance. Her physique seemed to be a natural fit for such attire, as if she were born to be a mannequin for these stunning garments. Mr. Qin possesses an exceptional eye for fashion, selecting garments that are particularly suited to Miss Su. The sales assistant, with a sweet smile, found engaging in conversation with Qin Lang to be genuinely delightful. Even the most mundane topics sparked a desire to continue the dialogue. I shall graciously accept the compliment from such a lovely lady, Qin Lang remarked with a nonchalant shrug. Please wrap up the clothes I just tried on. They all look splendid. Oh, and don't forget that silk scarf. Su Xiaoxiao murmured. This is too much. These clothes are quite expensive. Qin Lang turned to her, a playful smirk gracing his lips. Is it more costly than the broken blue and white porcelain you shattered? With that, the conversation fell flat. Su Xiaoxiao found herself at a loss for words, resigning to the role of a bag carrier. As the sales assistant processed the transaction with fluidity, the sound of over 400,000 yuan being deposited resonated in her ears, awakening her to the reality of the situation. What possessed her? She had just completed a transaction worth over 400,000. Her commission alone would amount to a substantial sum. Yet prior to this moment, she had felt no inkling of doubt regarding Qin Lang's ability to pay. Just as Qin Lang and Su Xiaoxiao stepped outside, a familiar and exasperatingly pretentious voice rang out. Darling, it's right here. Just now, a couple of scoundrels called me a loose woman. You must stand up for me. Outside the Fendi boutique, a flamboyant woman clung to an unremarkable middle-aged man, coaxing him seductively while squeezing his arm against her bosom. Upon spotting Qin Lang and Su Xiaoxiao, she pointed at them, unleashing a tirade of insults. It's this pair of scoundrels. Darling, they're the ones who insulted me. Had enchanting gazes scrutinizit, Su Xiaoxiao. And upon noticing that the petite cleaner was adorned in Fendi's Fashion Week attire, envy ignited in her eyes. She shook the man's arm, playfully pouting. Darling, I wish to buy Fashion Week clothing too. Hold on, let us not rush. Let us keep matters separate. Kai Yong approached with a stern expression, fixing his gaze on Qin Lang, emanating an air of menace. Young man, which faction do you belong to in Tianhai City? Noticing the multitude of packages in Su Xiaoxiao's hands, it was evident she had spent a significant sum. Although he had earned considerable wealth as a contractor over the years, he was still wary of the powerful figures in Tianhai City. Qin family, Qin Lang replied. Kai Yong raised an eyebrow. The Qin family of Qin Qingshan? His demeanor shifted to one of intrigue. Qin Qingshan, the chairman of a small real estate company in Tianhai City, was worth millions, a modestly successful individual by ordinary standards. However, in Kai Yong's eyes, he was insignificant, relying on him for work. Realizing the Qin family depended on his patronage, Kai Yong became arrogant. Listen here, young man. I want to say, I'm not giving you a chance. If you offend someone, be prepared for retaliation. Have my precious one slap you a few times and utter an apology, and we shall let this matter go. Otherwise, Qin Lang chuckled. Or else what? From the moment he laid eyes on the resplendent woman, he discerned that she was no member of the elite. Truly affluent individuals seldom exhibit such boisterousness. They are typically the type to amass wealth quietly. While he suspected the glamorous woman was attempting to ascend socially, he was taken aback to find that even the wealthy man she clung to lacked taste. Kai Yong's expression turned icy, and he thought, you little brat, don't get too arrogant. Even if your father were here, he would respectfully address me as President Kai. Qin Lang shook his head. Really? I find that hard to believe. Believe it or not, Kai Yong, known for his fiery temper, was infuriated by Qin Lang's nonchalant demeanor. He lunged forward, aiming a slap, shouting obscenities. Do you think you're some kind of big shot? Smack! The hand came down, but it was not Qin Lang who received the blow. It was Su Xiaoxiao, who had suddenly stepped in front of him. A flush of redness swiftly appeared on her delicate cheek as she spread her arms defiantly. Protecting Qin Lang. This has nothing to do with Qin Xiao. If you want to hit someone, hit me instead. She did not believe the slender Qin Lang could possibly withstand someone as burly as Kai Yong, especially since Qin Lang had no bodyguard by his side. Had this incident occurred earlier, Su Xiaoxiao would never have acted so boldly. However, today, Qin Lang had offended the glamorous woman on her behalf. She could not stand idly by while he was attacked. Damn it, I'll hit you both. Kai Yong roared, aiming another slap at Su Xiaoxiao. Smack! Accompanied by a crisp sound. Kai Yong's hand halted mid-air as Qin Lang, with a cold expression, grasped his wrist. He had not anticipated Su Xiaoxiao's reaction, which had inadvertently led to her taking the hit. Now that he regained his senses, he would not allow Kai Yong to continue his rampage. A typical person's strength hovers around 10 points, but Kai Yong, despite his imposing physique, had been drained by the indulgences of banquets and nightlife, barely reaching 8 or 9 points. In contrast, Qin Lang's strength was 26 points, rendering Kai Yong as fragile as a child. Who gave you the audacity to strike? Qin Lang tightened his grip, causing Kai Yong's wrist to turn pale. The pain contorted Kai Yong's face as he howled. Let go. Damn it, release me, or I swear I'll ruin you. You fool. Qin Lang abruptly yanked, causing Kai Yong to stumble, his body bending forward as Qin Lang's knee collided with Kai Yong's arm, producing a crisp sound reminiscent of a bone breaking. My arm, it's broken. How dare you? I will take your life. Kai Yong screamed in agony, clutching his arm as he collapsed to the ground, his face contorted in pain, turning a deep shade of purple. The glamorous woman crouched in panic. Husband, get up. Get up. Kai Yong kicked the glamorous woman aside, his thoughts consumed by vengeance against Qin Lang and the Qin family, leaving no room for any other considerations. He intends to bring ruin to the Qin family, to make Qin Shan atone for his son's sins. Meanwhile, Qin Lang disregarded Kai Yong's menacing words as if they were mere air, paying them no heed. He gently caressed Su Xiaoxiao's flushed cheek and softly inquired, "Are you all right? Why did you foolishly rush over here?" Su Xiaoxiao turned her head away, refusing to let Qin Lang's hand touch her, her cheeks burning with embarrassment, resembling a shy mimosa. "I didn't know, young Master Qin, that you were so formidable in a fight. I thought without bodyguards, you wouldn't be his match, so I stepped forward. Besides, this trouble was caused by me in the first place. You needn't worry, young Master Qin. I've faced many bullies in my childhood. A little injury like this is nothing, and I will recover swiftly." Having received a slap, Su Xiaoxiao's bright, clear eyes brimmed with resilience, starkly contrasting with the earlier image of her sobbing alone in a corner, as if she were two entirely different individuals. In truth, what Qin Lang did not realize was that Su Xiaoxiao's character had not changed within such a brief time. It had always been this way. She could endure physical pain, but the emotional indignation was unbearable for a young girl. The more she contemplated it, the more aggrieved she felt, and tears began to overflow from her eyes. Seeing the understanding Su Xiaoxiao, a ripple of emotion stirred within Qin Lang's heart. He placed his hand on her head and, with a solemn yet commanding tone, declared, "I know not what life you have led before, nor who has wronged you in the past, but from this moment forth, you are my Qin Lang's ward, a member of the Qin family. No one shall bully you, not these two ruffians, nor anyone else. Not even the King of Heaven has the right to mistreat a member of the Qin family. As long as I, Qin Lang, draw breath, you will remain under the protection of the Qin family. Do you understand?" Chapter 9. A move away from checkmate. Ding. The protagonist, Su Xiaoxiao, experiences an emotional surge. Congratulations. Host, you have gained 300 villain points. Ding. Su Xiaoxiao's favorability increases. Congratulations. Host, you have gained 500 villain points. Ding. Su Xiaoxiao's favorability continues to soar. Congratulations, host. You have gained 1,000 villain points. Su Xiaoxiao lifted her small head, her large, glistening eyes sparkling with brilliance. Qin Lang, standing so close, possessed features so finely chiseled that they appeared enhanced through a romantic filter, exuding a radiant glow that sparkled around him. In that moment, Su Xiaoxiao's mind was filled with his commanding declaration. "Little brat, if you have the guts, don't run. If I don't break your legs today, I want to take the surname Kai." Kai Yong's vicious words jolted Su Xiaoxiao from her daydream. She slapped her cheeks with her hands and vigorously shook her head, mentally scolding herself. "Su Xiaoxiao, how shameless can you be? What nonsense are you thinking? Young Master Qin is concerned only with the reputation of the Qin family. He cannot allow the family's maid to be bullied. It's not for you alone. Don't be so deluded." Even though she had come to terms with her feelings, Su Xiaoxiao found herself enveloped in a profound sense of security. What was she giggling about? Qin Lang observed her alternating between fits of laughter, cupping her cheeks, and pouting in a moment of melancholy, unable to suppress a smile. This young lady is remarkably transparent, her thoughts laid bare upon her countenance, as innocent as a blank canvas. Su Xiaoxiao shook her head, dismissing her thoughts. "It's nothing. Qin Xiao, let us hurry and leave. If the people I called arrive, we won't be able to escape." "Leave? Why would we leave? I haven't settled the score with you yet." Qin Lang stood his ground, impervious to Su Xiaoxiao's tugging. With a slight pull, he drew her into his embrace. Like a startled little rabbit, Su Xiaoxiao quickly sprang from his hold, her head bowed in embarrassment. Such an intimate gesture left the young girl, who had never experienced such closeness with the opposite sex, feeling flustered. Qin Lang was quite pleased with Su Xiaoxiao's reaction. His approach of being initially aloof and then warm, coupled with his charm, effortlessly won over the affections of this naive girl. The accumulating value of his villainous reputation served as a testament to his success. He watched as Kai Yong raged over the phone, chuckling to himself. "Isn't it just about calling for backup? Who can't do that? I can too." In less than 10 minutes, both parties had gathered their reinforcements. With some curious bystanders from the mall joining the fray, a lively crowd formed to witness the unfolding drama. How is this going to play out? My handsome guy is going to get pummeled. The disparity in numbers is overwhelming. Everyone kept shouting for help. Yet it seemed that my handsome brother had only called this one individual. No matter how skilled one is, can they truly take on a group? Isn't that just asking for punishment? A cluster of young girls grew anxious, fearing they would witness a tragic scene of their handsome brother being brutally beaten. On Kai Yong's side, having spent years working on construction sites, he often resorted to violence to resolve disputes. Thus, he had amassed a gang of thugs, all summoned today, 13 men, each as robust as a bull. In stark contrast, on the other side, there stood only Junzi, who not only had to defend the arena, but had also made a trip earlier to help Su Xiaoxiao load her bags into the car. He was playing both father and mother. Qin Xiao, aren't there others at the villa? What if we can't hold our ground? Su Xiaoxiao expressed her anxiety, eyeing the formidable crowd across from them, each appearing more muscular than Junzi. Qin Lang remained unperturbed, casually surveying the group, led by Kai Yong. Is that all the people you have? Are they all here? I wonder how long you can keep up this bravado. Kai Yong snarled menacingly, barking orders to his thugs. Charge! Break one of his arms, and I'll reward you with 100,000. Break a leg, and you'll receive 200,000. With a roar, the promise of wealth ignited their fervor. The band of thugs surged forward like wolves descending upon their prey, aiming directly for Qin Lang. The swiftest individual has arrived before Qin Lang, and the stalwart Junzi, who had stood like an ancient pine, has sprung into action. His speed was so remarkable that it nearly created an illusion as he delivered a kick. Bang! The burly man, weighing nearly 180 pounds, was sent flying several meters, akin to a sack filled with gravel. Exert some strength. Resolve this within 3 minutes, and tonight you and the brothers can indulge at the Qianjilian Club. My treat, Qin Lang remarked, patting Junzi's shoulder. Junzi's eyes brightened, and he chuckled. Young master, you truly underestimate me with such a time frame. No sooner had he spoken than he charged forth like a fierce tiger unleashed, tearing through the ranks of over a dozen thugs with ease. This was no mere brawl. It was sheer slaughter. In Junzi's presence, these ordinary thugs could hardly approach him. A single strike rendered one unconscious, while another kick sent a thug hurtling several meters away. 3 minutes. In less than a minute, all 13 thugs lay sprawled on the ground, wailing in agony. Hiss! Everyone present gasped in shock. Was this even human? How could one be so merciless? With sheer strength, he incapacitated so many thugs in such a brief span. Had they not witnessed it with their own eyes, they would scarcely dare to imagine the scene that had just unfolded. Even Su Xiaoxiao was left in awe by Junzi's terrifying prowess. However, Qin Lang alone remained unperturbed, exhibiting no undue astonishment at Junzi's skills. If Junzi lacked such abilities, how could he have engaged in over 100 rounds with Yifeng? If Qin Lang's physique was rated at 26, Junzi must surely be in the range of 80 to 90, while Yifeng was likely above 90, perhaps nearing 100. In the midst of profound astonishment, Kai Yong regained his composure and took a deep breath, gazing solemnly at Qin Lang. You indeed possess remarkable capabilities to have secured such a bodyguard. It appears that Qin Qingshan has truly kept you under tight guard. What a pity. He pointed at the surveillance cameras within the mall. You still made a critical error. Young man, be more vigilant in the future. In today's society, mere brute strength does not grant you immunity. You and this bodyguard, one has broken my arm, and the other has severely injured numerous individuals. I will ensure that, regardless of the cost, you both spend a year or more behind bars. Chapter 10. The Qin family of Yinjing. Kai Yong conceded that he had indeed fallen today. He never anticipated being bested by a youth. But that did not equate to surrender. Rather, he had already prepared for dual contingencies. If the thugs he summoned were to incapacitate Qin Lang, he would merely need to spend a little money to have the assailants serve a year or more in prison. As for the present situation, it seemed he would have to ensure that Qin Lang and his bodyguard faced incarceration. Though still displeased, he began to contemplate how he would humiliate this young upstart when Qin Qingshan and his son would inevitably come to him, bowing in apology. Please step aside, make way. What transpired here? Why are there so many injuries? In the upper levels of the shopping mall, security personnel rushed over, their expressions grim. Upon seeing the newcomers, Kai Yong's face brightened, and he approached while cradling his arm. Manager Wang, do you still remember me? Wang Weishan frowned, scrutinizing Kai Yong with a fleeting look of disdain. Who are you? Kai Yong smiled sheepishly. It's me, Xiao Kai. I was a subcontractor for earthworks during the mall's construction, and I even treated you to a meal. That's wonderful. If it is indeed you, Manager Wang, it would be most convenient. I've encountered some trouble today. I was assaulted. Could you kindly assist by retrieving the surveillance footage? As the chairman of the company, Kai Yong should not have to grovel before someone of a managerial rank. Yet, standing behind Wang Weishan was the formidable Tang Shi Group, an entity with assets exceeding 100 billion. Even a minor manager could command resources beyond Kai Yong's reach. Pointing at his broken arm, he implored, Manager Wang, look at my arm, it's broken. Please help. Wang Weishan, however, remained stoic, informing him that the mall's cameras were malfunctioning and had ceased operation. Thus, there was no recorded footage. Kai Yong, filled with skepticism, asked, all of them are malfunctioning? Wang Weishan replied coldly indeed. Having spent considerable time on construction sites, Kai Yong sensed an unusual undertone, and glancing at the seemingly indifferent Qin Lang nearby, a sense of impending danger surged within him. Suddenly, a security guard cried out in agony, collapsing to the ground while pointing at one of the thugs summoned by Kai Yong, who concealed a dagger in his sleeve. Quick, rush in and subdue these thugs. They are violent criminals. With a loud shout, as if rehearsed countless times, the security team led by Wang Weishan charged forward, engaging the injured thug in a fierce struggle once more. Gaizong stood in shock. Even someone as slow to react as he could see that Wang Weishan's arrival was no coincidence. It was to cover for Qin Lang. Feeling a surge of discontent, he confronted Wang. I do not know what your connection is with this young man, but surely, a mere Qin family should not warrant such humiliation for me, Kai Yong. Wang Weishan's expression hardened as he whispered in a tone only they could hear. Do you know he is from the Qin family? Kai Yong scoffed. Of course I know. There is only one Qin family in Tianhai City, and that Qin Qingshan relies on my company for sustenance. Qin Qingshan? Who is that? Wang Weishan was unfamiliar with the name, but inferred from Kai Yong's words that the latter had mistaken identities. What a fool he was. He was not from Tianhai City, but from Yinjing. With a swift kick to Kai Yong's abdomen, Wang Weishan muttered under his breath and shouted towards the crowd. This man is armed. I need 2 people to assist in subduing him. Soon, 2 young women wearing hats rushed over from the crowd, immediately targeting Kai Yong's vulnerable areas. Crumpled and resembling a beaten dog, Kai Yong was jolted back to consciousness by the pain. The Qin family. They were not from Tianhai City, but from Yinjing? The Qin family of Yinjing. Kai Yong's heart trembled violently. Is there a Qin family in the business world of Yinjing, aside from that figure often seen on television? Hiss. With this thought, everything became clear. Tang Xiao of the Tang Poetry Group originates from Yinjing. There is no one else who could manipulate the Tang Poetry Group in such a manner. It must be him. It surely is the family of that esteemed figure from Yinjing. Only the Qin family could compel Tang Xiao to act in this way. My heavens, whom has he offended? Kai Yong curled up on the ground, peering through the legs of 2 young ladies towards Qin Lang's direction, wishing fervently that someone would end his life at that moment. Had he known that Qin Lang belonged to the Qin family of Yinjing, he wouldn't have dared utter a single harsh word, let alone break an arm. He would have been too intimidated to even consider it. The glamorous woman, witnessing her husband being beaten after calling for half a month, sensed the shift in atmosphere and hastily turned to flee the scene. Qin Lang. Qin Xiao, what is the matter with the security here? Qin Lang shrugged. They were summoned. I mentioned summoning people, but did not specify only to summon Junzi. Let us go, it's getting late, and I have matters to attend to at noon. Su Xiaoxiao nodded obediently, walking alongside him. What would you like to eat for lunch, Qin Xiao? I won't be home today. Just make something for yourself. Junzi went to fetch the car from the underground garage, while Qin Lang and Su Xiaoxiao waited at the mall entrance. Instead of the expected Maybach, a Rolls-Royce arrived. A rotund man, grinning broadly like a celestial being, emerged from the back seat and hurried towards Qin Lang, rubbing his palms together, his face beaming with enthusiasm. Qin Xiao, how is it? Has the matter been resolved? I just received your call at home, and here I am, rushing over immediately. Are you all right? Not injured, I hope? The newcomer was none other than Tang Tianpei, the chairman of the Tang Poetry Group and the eldest son of the Tang family from Yinjing. At 28, he had once been a dashing young man 3 years ago, but due to certain familial issues, he had been ousted from Yinjing. Having mingled in the circle of wealthy second-generation elites in Yinjing, they naturally had each other's contact information. However, times had changed. Previously, Tang Tianpei might have held a position to converse with Qin Lang on equal footing. But now, Tang Tianpei was merely an outcast from Yinjing, while Qin Lang was the legitimate grandson of the Qin family, the future sole heir. Their statuses could not be compared. You handled the situation well. Thank you, brother Tianpei. Qin Lang said with a warm smile. Today, I owe you a favor, and I shall repay it when the opportunity arises. Tang Tianpei frowned, saying, Qin Xiao, what are you saying? Meeting a friend in a foreign land, being able to assist with such a small matter is a privilege. What talk of favors is this? Aren't you belittling me? This incident today is largely your fault for being too low-key. If people had known your true identity, such a situation would never have arisen. Today, I have come here with the intention of inviting you, young Master Qin, to the upcoming Dingfeng gathering in a few days. It will be attended by the elite of Tianhai City, providing an excellent opportunity for them to witness your charm and grace, young Master Qin. Chapter 11. Speak up if you can, since Brother Tianpei has already spoken. It would be rude not to comply. Qin Lang responded with a smile. And once Junzi brought the car around, he took Su Xiao and departed. As Junzi drove steadily, he curiously inquired, Young Master, was that the eldest son of the Tang family we just saw? How has he fallen to such a state? 3 years ago, while Tang Tianpei may not have been able to rival Qin Lang in terms of looks, he was certainly a handsome young man. Yet, in just a few years of absence, he has transformed into a rather unkempt figure. Fallen? Qin Lang did not share this sentiment. The Tang family holds considerable influence in Yanjing, and it is quite remarkable for the legitimate heir to have ended up in such a predicament. When he encountered me, he was so obsequious. Do you think that's normal? Junzi instinctively nodded. It makes perfect sense. The Tang family has never been on par with your family, especially since Tang Tianpei has faced internal strife and was expelled from Yanjing. Unlike you, young master, as the sole heir of your family, it is only natural for him to act like a sycophant in your presence. Spend more time reading instead of frequenting the Kinzillion Club. Use your intellect to discern situations. Do not be misled by superficial appearances. Qin Lang admonished sharply. People possess dignity and pride. A once prominent young master, even in decline, should not be reduced to such servility. If he has truly changed so drastically, there can only be one explanation. His spirit is still unbroken. Young master, do you mean he still wishes to return to Yanjing? Junzi felt incredulous. However, Qin Lang chose not to elaborate on the topic further, waving his hand dismissively. Just drive. It was sufficient to hint at such matters to Junzi, as he intended to cultivate him as a confidant. In terms of martial prowess, Junzi was undoubtedly qualified and loyal, though sometimes he could be rather rigid in his thinking. If Junzi could learn to adapt, he would be groomed as a trusted aide. Otherwise, he would simply follow the family's directives and remain a mere pawn. After dropping off Su Xiao at the villa, it was already noon, the appointed time to meet Mu Yuyan. Junzi hurriedly drove Qin Lang towards Mu Yuyan's residence. On the way, Junzi chuckled, one hand on the steering wheel while the other gave a thumbs up behind his head. Young master, you are truly impressive. Your discerning eye is remarkable. That girl, Su Xiao, appeared rather plain yesterday, resembling a country bumpkin. I could not fathom why you kept her around. Yet today, after changing her outfit, wow, it's as if you performed magic. She is transformed completely. Playful, charming, and vibrant. Though she may have been a bit unsophisticated before, she is obedient and sensible, truly a perfect addition to the household. Qin Lang raised an eyebrow. Is this the type you prefer? Junzi smirked slyly, expressing his preference for older women, particularly Manager Zhang from Kinzillion, who embodied sophistication and maturity, and most importantly, had a tender heart. Qin Lang had visited Kinzillion on multiple occasions, often spotted walking alongside Manager Zhang, initially thought to be discussing which technician to select. However, it turned out that these two had become entangled with one another. Manager Zhang, in her 40s, was indeed older than Junzi. She's 43, 8 years my senior, Junzi replied. As the saying goes, a woman 3 years older is worth her weight in gold. At 5 years, she's as good as a mother. At 8 years, she is a mother clutching gold. In the luxurious Jiangnan No. 1 villa community, Mu Yuyan sat in the living room, observing her mother bustling in the kitchen with an apron tied around her waist. With a hint of melancholy, she murmured, Mom, when I return to Yanjing, I want to see you in the kitchen again. Is it really worth your effort to cook just for that Qin Lang guy? As a daughter, Mu Yuyan felt she was being treated unfairly, harboring jealousy towards Qin Lang. Lin Wanqing placed the last dish of stir-fried pork with edamame on the dining table, wiped her hands on her apron, and then brushed the fine beads of sweat from her forehead with a smile. You, my dear, simply do not appreciate the situation. With your future son-in-law visiting, as your mother, I must show my hospitality, mustn't I? Future son-in-law, Mu Yuyan retorted, feeling a pang of discomfort at her mother's joyful demeanor. Who knows what might happen? With Qin Lang's character, He is likely to flirt around. And in a few years, he could even have children. Are you suggesting I should step in as a stepmother? Stop saying such nonsense, Lin Wanqing admonished. Haven't I told you? Just keep such thoughts to yourself. Do you truly believe there is a man out there who is different? If he's capable, he wouldn't be without his share of affairs. Have you forgotten your father's past indiscretions? When Mu Yuyan's father passed away, it triggered great turmoil within the Mu family, nearly resulting in her and her mother being expelled. Why? Because a faction seeking power had discovered her father's illegitimate child, using him as leverage against the family. Had it not been for the Qin family supporting the destitute mother and daughter, along with providing a substantial sum to the child and his mother, the situation would not have been resolved so easily. Yuyan, you are my only daughter. How could I harm you? Lin Wanqing sat beside her daughter, earnestly comforting her. Qinlang may be a bit mischievous and domineering, but it's clear to everyone that he has affection for you. Mischievous? He installed listening devices in my office. Is that what you call playful? Furthermore, I intentionally invited his rivals, yet they have all mysteriously vanished. Whether dead or alive, I cannot say. Is that what you describe as domineering? Mu Yuyan clenched her silver teeth. Such a person was undeniably an arrogant scion, the quintessential antagonist. Had he not relied on a powerful father, would he still be able to act so recklessly? As her words fell, a figure appeared in the corner of the living room. It was none other than Qinlang, who had arrived with a cold expression, gazing at the stunningly beautiful Mu Yuyan, whose face still bore traces of anger. Qinlang, my dear child, why did you not call ahead before coming? Lin Wanqing exclaimed, startled. Yuyan is still young, and her words may be a bit harsh. Please do not take them to heart. Qinlang, however, feigned ignorance. A wicked smile, curving his lips as he focused intently on Mu Yuyan. If you have the courage, repeat what you just said. Say it. I will. Mu Yuyan retorted. Her angur unabated. Am I wrong? If it weren't for a good father, could you have lived so freely until now? Qinlang nodded in satisfaction, clearly pleased. Now that is a delightful sentiment. Keep speaking if you have more to say. Chapter 12. Who was the biological one? One would have expected Qinlang to be seething with rage. At the very least, his expression would be grim. Mu Yuyan was genuinely surprised that her furious words not only failed to enrage Qinlang, but seemed to fill him with a sense of pride. How could someone be so shameless? To criticize him for relying on his family was tantamount to accusing him of being a parasite. Yet this man appeared to embrace it with joy. You. She pointed an accusatory finger at Qinlang. I've never encountered anyone so brazen. Yuyan, how can you speak like that? Apologize to Qinlang at once. Lin Wanqing could no longer contain her exasperation. Time and again, she had witnessed her daughter humiliate Qinlang, and even as her own mother, it pained her to hear it, let alone outsiders. Mu Yuyan stubbornly turned her head away. No, I haven't said anything wrong. Why should I apologize? She instinctively glanced at Qinlang, only to find that he showed no sign of anger, which filled her with a hint of confusion. What was going on today? From the moment she first laid eyes on Qinlang, she sensed something was amiss. In just a day apart, he appeared to have become even more handsome, and his demeanor was unexpectedly agreeable. Furthermore, had it been the old Qinlang, he would have erupted in fury or smashed something at the slightest provocation. Yet now, he had inexplicably grown calm, leaving her feeling quite unsettled. Whether Qinlang was angry or not remained uncertain, but Lin Wanqing was undeniably infuriated, her chest heaving with emotion. Mo Igirikuyan, I command you to apologize. Do you hear me? Have you even stopped listening to your mother? Mother. Mu Yuyan felt her temper simmering down as she observed her mother's furious demeanor. No matter how strong-willed she was, she had always grown up trailing behind her mother, and in her presence, she felt like a perpetually childish figure. It was the first time in her life that she had been scolded so sternly by her mother. Fear and grievance welled up within her, and soon her eyes began to glisten with unshed tears. Seeing this, Qinlang stepped forward, gently taking Mu Yuyan's delicate hand in his, feeling its softness. He smiled and said, Auntie, please do not be so upset. Look, you've frightened Yuyan. He continued, you may not know this, but Yuyan and I are already a couple, currently in a relationship. This is simply how we interact. We don't take each other's words too seriously. We are both young, after all, and we tend to keep up with the trends. Really? Lin Wanqing furrowed her brow in disbelief. Mu Yuyan nodded in agreement, albeit reluctantly, as she pinched Qinlang's back softly with her other hand, saying, if you don't believe me, you can ask Aining. Aining was Mu Yuyan's personal bodyguard, always by her side, aware of every little stir around her. Lin Wanqing, upon hearing this, ceased her irritation, her expression transforming into one of mother-in-law gazing fondly at her son-in-law, increasingly charmed, smiling radiantly. After all, the older generation can't keep up with the trends. It's good that you youngsters enjoy yourselves. Qin Lang, with a stern expression, retorted, Annie, what do you mean by that? Why say you're old? If you were to walk down the street with Yu Yan, people might mistake you for sisters. While this statement contained a hint of flattery towards the elder, it was undeniable that Lin Wanqing, in her early 40s, maintained a youthful appearance, her face brimming with collagen. Her attire was particularly refreshing and appropriate, featuring a soft pink long-sleeve shirt that bore a hint of translucence, subtly revealing her slender abdomen and figure. Paired with tight blue jeans, her legs appeared straight and elongated, truly a sight to behold. In terms of beauty, while she might pale slightly in comparison to Mu Yuyan, the difference was negligible. Indeed, she exuded a mature femininity that added to her allure. Lin Wanqing's face radiated a satisfied smile as she playfully scolded, You naughty child. It seems you've become quite the smooth talker since we last met. Auntie is indeed aging and can't compare to the youth anymore. This outfit is Yu Yan's, and it suits me quite well. Ah, I see. Qin Lang responded with a knowing smile, immediately feigning surprise. What? This outfit belongs to Yu Yan? I've never seen her wear it before. I know Yu Yan's figure is perfectly proportioned, so I never imagined Annie would look so good in her clothes. Your figure is enviable. Where's that coming from? You sweet-talking child. You're making me blush. Lin Wanqing laughed, her delightful smile never fading, as she warmly took Qin Lang's hand. You're just in time. I specially cooked a home-cooked meal for you. Do taste, and let me know how it is. Today, I truly am in for a treat. As Qin Lang and her mother walked hand in hand toward the dining room, Mu Yuyan's lips curled slightly in discontent, feeling like an abandoned child. Things had changed indeed. This fellow, once so arrogant and domineering, had now transformed into a smooth talker, appearing far from virtuous. She huffed in annoyance, glancing down at her home attire adorned with an embroidered teddy bear clutching a pillow. Even without receiving Qin Lang's compliments, she had no intention of changing. After all, it was merely a meal. Was it necessary to make such a fuss over it? At the dining table, Lin Wanqing occupied the seat of honor, with Qin Lang and Mu Yuyan flanking her sides. Throughout the meal, Qin Lang's bowl remained perpetually full, as he never took the initiative to serve himself. In contrast, Mu Yuyan found herself lacking Lin Wanqing's attentive service. During a contest for the last piece of cola chicken wing, she inadvertently clashed chopsticks with Lin Wanqing. Lin Wanqing rolled her eyes, exclaiming, Why does a girl need to eat so much? As she spoke, she deftly placed the final piece of cola chicken wings into Qin Lang's bowl. Mu Yuyan felt tears welling up, exclaiming inwardly, Mom, who is truly your biological child? Him or me? Of course, it is you, Lin Wanqing reproached with mild displeasure. As your mother-in-law, I ought to treat my son-in-law a bit better. Are you feeling jealous? Mu Yuyan pouted, murmuring to herself. This was no trivial matter of preferential treatment. It was outright disparity. She even contemplated conducting an investigation. She truly could not fathom what sort of enchantment Qin Lang had cast upon her mother, leaving her utterly spellbound. Yu Yan, if you wish to have it. This chicken wing is yours, Qin Lang said as he rose to place the piece into Mu Yuyan's bowl. His demeanor radiated an amiable charm, evoking ripples of warmth in the hearts of those around him. Even Mu Yuyan, who had long harbored disdain for Qin Lang, found her beautiful eyes reflecting a hint of intrigue. Chapter 13. Mu Yuyan, infuriated. Truth be told, Qin Lang genuinely seemed to cherish her. Although he was notoriously unruly and prone to violence outside, he remained remarkably gentle in her presence, never once bullying her nor raising a hand against her. Moreover, the Qin family held significant stature in Yanjing. If one were to measure by social standing, this union was undoubtedly a lofty aspiration for the Mu family. Most importantly, Mu Yuyan found her feelings towards Qin Lang softening. The aversion within her heart appeared to wane considerably, and he became increasingly agreeable to her gaze. Suddenly jolted from her reverie, Mu Yuyan chastised herself inwardly. What'd she been thinking? How could she have considered Qin Lang in a positive light? Today, not only was Qin Lang acting oddly, but she too seemed unlike her former self. Qin Lang smirked, shaking his chopsticks. I used the wider end to pick it up. There's no saliva on it. Ignoring Mu Yuyan's protest, he placed the chicken wing in her bowl, declaring, It's clean. If you want it, eat it. If not, you can return to the dish. Lin Wanqing observed the playful banter between the young couple, occasionally touching her fair neck, and smiled with delight. Outside, people spoke of Qin Lang as a spoiled second-generation heir, arrogant and unrestrained, seemingly tarnishing the Qin family's reputation. Yet, seeing him today, Lin Wanqing realized that those rumors were mere fabrications. How could such a fine son-in-law be as despicable as others claimed? Casting a sidelong glance at her mother, Mu Yuyan inwardly lamented her predicament. She felt that Qin Lang was intentionally putting on a guise of innocence today, merely to leave a favorable impression on her mother. His aim was to transform their contractual relationship into something genuine. What a despicable individual, so insidious. Mu Yuyan's displeasure simmered within her as she prodded at a piece of cola chicken wing with her chopsticks, gritting her teeth with a desire to shred the wing into pieces. You, girl, can't even behave properly at a meal. Why can't you learn from Xiaoqin? Lin Wanqing, overwhelmed with joy, had begun to address Qin Lang in a more affectionate manner, finding him increasingly agreeable. While her own daughter became less and less palatable to her, she wondered what exactly Xiaoqin saw in her daughter. If it were their era, a young man like Xiaoqin would have had suitors lining up at their doorstep. As she rubbed her neck, she furrowed her brow, admonishing her unruly daughter. Auntie, since I have some free time today, how about we visit the hospital after dinner for a checkup? Qin Lang set down his chopsticks and spoke softly. Lin Wanqing, perplexed, asked, what do we need to go to the hospital for? Mu Yuyan, already seething, snapped at Qin Lang. Are you deliberately seeking trouble? My mom is in perfectly good health. Why would you suggest a hospital visit? Are you trying to provoke us? It felt as though Qin Lang was implying her mother was unwell, given that Mu Yuyan was already in a foul mood. Even if she and Qin Lang were genuinely a couple, such words would still be irksome. Qin Lang did not refute her. Having nothing to do is still something. Let's consider it a checkup. Auntie, have you had one recently? Lin Wanqing shook her head. No, I haven't tea. There are countless matters at the company back in Yanjing. Meetings and board votes galore. Even this trip to Tianhai City is a stolen moment amidst the chaos. I can only stay for 3 or 4 days. When would I find a time for a checkup? It seems unnecessary and rather bothersome. The hospital has an unpleasant odor. She added, you're thoughtful, but I feel perfectly well. Exactly. Mu Yuyan eagerly chimed in, nodding in agreement. Mom will live a long life, forever youthful. Always 18. Qin Lang furrowed his brow, hesitating as if making a monumental decision. Gritting his teeth, he stated, Auntie, since you say so, I shouldn't push. Yet today, as a younger generation, I must take on the role of the villain. Whether you go or not, I will take you, even if I have to drag you there. Despite his certainty about his intentions, Qin Lang chose not to articulate the reasons or the deeper philosophy behind them. He relished this ambiguity, aiming to provoke Mu Yuyan's anger and to discomfort Lin Wanqing, a strategy of suppression before elevation, to thoroughly alter Mu Yuyan's perception of him. This was merely the first step. First incite her fury, then elicit her shyness. Indeed, Mu Yuyan's previously radiant smile of praise for her mother vanished, replaced by a scowl directed at Qin Lang, her teeth clenched tight. Qin Lang, are you out of your mind? It has been said that my mother is in good health, yet you persist in causing a ruckus. Do you need to provoke me into forcing you out before you feel satisfied? My face, flushed with indignation, was met with words I struggled to articulate, only to falter at the cusp of expression, leaving me in a state of frustration. Lin Wanqing, observing from the side, waved her hand with a smile. You needn't be angry with Xiaoqin. He means well. Since he has suggested it, let's visit the hospital. It's been quite some time since the last checkup. Mom, Mu Yuyan exclaimed. Lin Wanqing, resolute, responded, that's final. No need to shout. My health is my own decision. Mu Yuyan rolled her eyes, retorting, just indulge him. Why don't you? With that, she shot a glare at Qin Lang, one filled with disdain. She detested anyone attempting to manipulate her mother's health. After all, she was her closest kin, deserving of protection from any malicious intent. The afternoon meal concluded on an unhappy note. Junzi, driving a Maybach, had initially invited both Mu Yuyan and her mother to join him. However, Mu Yuyan adamantly refused, insisting on taking out a pink, convertible BMW from the garage to drive her mother instead. Upon reaching the hospital, Lin Wanqing was ushered for blood tests and a series of scans, becoming increasingly dizzy as she absent-mindedly rubbed her neck. Finally, as the clock approached 4, the test results were ready. The doctor, clad in a white coat, called out, Lin Wanqing. Who is Lin Wanqing? Please come to collect your examination report. Mu Yuyan, grasping her mother's hand, deliberately pushed Qin Lang outside the door. Doctor, how is my mother's health? Is she exceptionally well? The doctor looked up puzzled. Are you the patient's daughter? How could you be unaware of your mother's condition? Healthy? Your mother's coronary heart disease has progressed to stage 3. If this continues, she could suffer a sudden cardiac event at any moment. The impact of the doctor's words stunned Mu Yuyin into silence, leaving her rooted in place. Her mind a blank slate. Chapter 14. First ignite her fury, then make her bashful, ignoring Mu Yuyin. The doctor frowned at Lin Wanqing. Surely you are not unaware of your own health status? Still in shock, Lin Wanqing shook her head, stammering, I don't know, doctor. Could there have been a mistake? The doctor rolled his eyes. You were tested alongside over a dozen healthy individuals. Why is it that you alone have results that are abnormal? Quite peculiar indeed. What prompted you both to suddenly seek a checkup? The mother and daughter instinctively glanced at Qin Lang, still hesitating outside the door. Xiao Qin, Kuming, why are you standing out there? Lin Wanqing beckoned, and upon his approach, she managed a wry smile. Thank you for your insistence. Otherwise, who knows when I might have collapsed without any inkling of the reason. Coronary heart disease, stage 3. The reality struck Lin Wanqing as both astonishing and terrifying. Did you perceive something? Otherwise, why were you so insistent on having the aunt come for a physical examination earlier at home? Lin Wanqing felt puzzled. Qin Lang nodded, sensing something amiss. Aunt, when you were speaking, you unconsciously touched your neck, and the frequency increased when you were angry, which is quite abnormal. The doctor in a white coat aptly gave a thumbs up. Is the young man studying medicine? Coronary heart disease arises from severe arterial hardening in the coronary arteries, leading to insufficient blood supply to the heart muscle, which in turn causes myocardial ischemia and angina. For patients in the third stage of coronary heart disease, angina can manifest as neck pain, and the instinctive act of touching the neck is a prominent symptom. Thankfully, we arrived in time. If the condition is controlled, there is a significant chance of improvement. Had we delayed further, or if you had engaged in more strenuous activities, it could have culminated in myocardial infarction and sudden death. Mother, Mu Yiyin finally regained her senses. Upon hearing the doctor's words, she felt a chilling sweat run down her back, her heart suspended in the air, experiencing a sense of weightlessness akin to falling from a height. It terrified her. She grasped her mother's hand, trembling, her eyes glistening with tears, the redness around them betraying her imminent tears. Silly child, it's all right. Mother is fine. This was discovered early. Just take care of your health. Lin Wanqing reassured her, patting her daughter's hand, her gratitude directed towards Qin Lang. You, child, noticed something was off. Why didn't you mention it at home earlier? You made Yu Yin angry and scold you for it. Weren't you feeling wronged? Qin Lang shook his head bitterly. I dare not speak, aunt. You cannot fathom your standing in Yu Yin's heart. I merely sensed something unusual. I couldn't be certain. If I had expressed my thoughts, what if you were indeed well? That would merely be my misunderstanding. If I had spoken out, it would have been malicious harm against you, and Yu Yin would have been furious. I'm fine. As long as you are healthy, what does my grievance matter? Moreover, I am a man, and Yu Yin is just a young girl. How could she possibly make me feel wronged? You, child. Lin Wanqing felt deeply moved. How considerate and empathetic Qin Lang was. His concern for her daughter surpassed that of even the mother herself. He would rather bear the burden of grievance than allow his beloved to feel the slightest discomfort. It was truly touching. No, Lin Wanqing resolved within herself that if she ever heard anyone speaking ill of her future son-in-law again, she would not ignore it. She would certainly expose them and give them a good reprimand. What sort of skill is it to slander behind someone's back? Moreover, it was malicious defamation. Her son-in-law was such an excellent young man. How could he possibly be the despicable and shameless second-generation person as rumored? The doctor humorously remarked, my dear lad, you appear remarkably handsome, almost like a big boy, yet I did not expect your thoughts to be so meticulous. You will undoubtedly be a devoted husband. As he spoke, he cast a glance in the direction of Mu Yuyin, causing her to shyly lower her head. Biting her lip, she hesitantly approached, clenching her delicate fists, and murmured softly, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I owe you an apology. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I would remain oblivious to my mother's health condition. As her daughter, I feel utterly incompetent. I am truly grateful to you. Otherwise, I would be at a loss for what to do. At that moment, Mu Yin's emotions were overwhelmingly complex. Her anger towards Qin Lang's proposal in the villa was now doubled by guilt. Qin Lang had clearly shown concern for her mother's well-being and had swallowed his grievances to prevent her from jumping to conclusions, bearing everything alone. Reflecting on this, Mu Yin felt her previous behavior was utterly disgraceful. She felt unworthy of being a daughter. How could she have so carelessly distorted Qin Lang's good intentions? If it had been someone else in his position, even if they were to scold her directly, accusing her of having a heart as foul as a dog's, she would have had no words to retort. Foolish girl, why are you apologizing to me? I am your boyfriend. Your mother is my family. How could I possibly ignore the discomfort of my own kin? Stop overthinking. Your eyes are red, and anyone unaware might think I bullied you. Please don't cry. I cannot bear it. Qin Lang gently patted Mu Yuyan's head. It was his first act of affectionate intimacy, and he was pleasantly surprised to find no resistance. Ding! The protagonist, Mu Yuyan's affection for the host has increased. Congratulations to the host for gaining 800 villain points. Ding! The protagonist, Mu Yuyan's affection for the host continues to rise. Congratulations to the host for gaining 1,000 villain points. Ding! The fortune of the son of destiny, Yi Feng, has decreased by 500 points. Congratulations to the host for gaining 5,000 villain points. As the doctor prescribed medication for Lin Wanqing and advised her on daily precautions, a mechanical voice echoed in Qin Lang's mind. Remarkable. What Yi Feng should have accomplished was preemptively executed by me, not only garnering a substantial amount of villain points from Mu Yuyan, but also causing a decline in Yi Feng's fortune by 500 points. I have amassed 5,000 villain points. It seems that seizing Yi Feng's opportunities not only diminishes his fortune, but also rewards me tenfold in villain points. Contemplating this, Qin Lang felt a surge of excitement in embracing the role of the ultimate antagonist. Chapter 15. Breaking the ice upon returning to Jiangnan No. 1. Mu Yuyan remained constantly by Lin Wanqing's side, serving tea and water and inquiring after her well-being. This led Lin Wanqing to feel a mix of warmth and helpless laughter. My dear girl, do I appear to be in my 70s? I can hardly move. Mu Yuyan shook her head, her exquisite face still reflecting her earlier fright. I was simply scared. Mother, how about I accompany you back to Yanjing tomorrow? The hospitals there are among the finest in the country. They will surely be able to cure your coronary heart disease. Lin Wanqing sighed helplessly, pondering the reality that such ailments are not easily remedied. Countless affluent individuals succumb to this illness unexpectedly, often after a single late night. She never anticipated that this affliction would befall her. Mu Yuyan's eyes brimmed with tears once more. The thought of losing her mother filled her with dread, leaving her to contemplate the bleakness of her future without her. The two women, one large and one small, embraced on the sofa in the living room, forming a striking tableau of beauty and grace. Seated across from a coffee table, Qin Lang gently cleared his throat. Annie, Ian, please do not let this concern overwhelm you. While medication is essential, recovery also heavily relies on proper care and nurturing. Here, as my suggestion, once you return to Yanjing, I will speak with my family to arrange for you to stay at the Xiangshan Sanatorium for a while. In terms of medical standards, the Xiangshan Sanatorium is undoubtedly the pinnacle of healthcare in Huaxia. Annie, if you adhere to the doctor's advice and focus on your recuperation, there should be no significant issues. The Xiangshan Sanatorium? Lin Wanqing's gaze faltered. Am I even eligible to enter there? In Huaxia, very few knew of the Xiangshan Sanatorium, as it was not open to the public. Those who resided there were typically the most distinguished figures in the realm of governance. It boasted not only state-of-the-art medical equipment, but also globally renowned physicians. To put it simply, Xiangshan Sanatorium was akin to the Royal Medical Institute of ancient times. Qin Lang smiled reassuringly. As for others, I cannot speak, but regarding you, Auntie, I can assure you that you need not worry. Seeing Yu Yan in such a state of fear and anxiety pains me. If necessary, I shall have my grandfather speak with the director of the Xiangshan Sanatorium. Xiaoqin, your thoughtfulness is appreciated. Lin Wanqing gazed at her future son-in-law, touched by his concern for her daughter. She found it endearing, yet her heart was heavy with trepidation regarding the implications of involving the Qin family patriarch. If not for Qin Lang, she could easily envision a scenario where she might suffer a heart attack without any warning. Grateful words seemed inadequate, but the thought of enlisting the old patriarch's help filled her with apprehension. After all, the Xiangshan Sanatorium was a prestigious institution, and not everyone could gain entry. It was not a matter of doubting the elder's influence. He was indeed a revered figure, one of the few remaining heroes since the founding of Huaxia. If he were to intervene, she worried about the potential whispers from other influential individuals. Mu Yiyan grasped her mother's hand. Mom, please do not refuse this. It is Qin Lang's sincere intention. She yearned to accompany her mother back to Yanjing for treatment. Yet no hospital in Huaxia could rival the Xiangshan Sanatorium. Very well then. Since I have come all this way to Tianhai City, I do not wish to rush back. I will stay a few more days, and once I return, I shall trouble Xiaoqin. In Tianhai City, Lin Wanqing remained for only 3 days before returning to Beijing. In the villa's living room, Mu Yuyan sat beside Qin Lang. With her mother absent, their private interaction took on an oddly peculiar atmosphere. How is our mother? Is she able to enter the Xiangshan Sanatorium? She turned her head to gaze at Qin Lang's handsome profile, inquiring softly. Everything has been arranged. Once Annie lands, someone will directly assist her with the accommodation. You need not worry, Qin Lang replied, placing his hand gently on the delicate back of Mu Yuyin's hand. It seemed Mu Yuyin was oblivious to his touch. Or perhaps she had grown accustomed to such gestures during their 3 days together. In her heart, even the self-consolation that likened it to a mere scratch from a dog had long since faded. So, how do you find my performance these past few days as your future son-in-law? Qin Lang, gathering his courage, attempted to grasp Mu Yuyin's wrist, gently pulling her into his embrace. Feeling the warmth of his broad chest, she struggled momentarily before blushing and yielding. What could it be? Perhaps she wished to repay Qin Lang's kindness, or maybe his behavior over these days had entirely transformed her preconceived notions. Truly, Mu Yuyin could hardly fathom that Qin Lang would exhibit such excellence before her mother. Was it possible that the arrogance he once displayed as a second-generation rich kid was merely a fade? Otherwise, how could he have mastered such refined tea artistry in such a short time? Throughout these 3 days, Qin Lang had visited the villa daily, engaging her mother in conversation and brewing tea for her. His tea preparation was a 12-step process, from lighting incense to clear the mind, washing cups to cultivate purity, to cooling the soup and nurturing harmony, and pouring tea to welcome the esteemed guest. Even someone like her mother, once a distinguished lady of high society, could not help but admire and commend his skill. Moreover, upon learning of her illness, Mu Yuyin and Lin Wanqing found themselves lost in thought at night, leading to sleeplessness. Upon discovering this, Qin Lang not only remained patient, but also played soothing piano lullabies to help them find tranquility. The ethereal melodies flowed like a mountain stream, gently caressing the soul, bringing an irresistible sense of calm. Had Mu Yuyin not once sneaked downstairs to watch Qin Lang's long fingers glide skillfully over the piano keys, accompanied by the enchanting music, she would never have believed he possessed such talent. You're doing well. Keep it up. Mu Yuyin nestled against Qin Lang as if they were a genuine couple, her hand brushing across his abdomen as she exclaimed in surprise. I didn't realize you had such a good physique. You even have abs? Qin Lang chuckled. There are many things you haven't noticed yet. Their eyes met, and Mu Yuyin was adorned in the very outfit Lin Wanqing had worn on her first day. A loose, sheer pink tunic paired with form-fitting dark blue jeans accentuated her graceful figure, adding a touch of allure and coolness. What a lovely ensemble. Qin Lang could not help but commend, your figure is quite remarkable as well. Chapter 16. A moment of pleasure and cruelty as the atmosphere grew increasingly intoxicating. Qin Lang's hand became bolder, gradually shifting from her slender waist upwards. That's enough, Mu Yuyin rebuked, swatting away Qin Lang's wandering hand. She rose from his lap, straightening her disheveled attire. She felt that Qin Lang was becoming excessively audacious, his demeanor growing ever more frivolous. If this ambience were not interrupted soon, she wondered what further audacious acts he might dare to pursue. A taste of sweetness was permissible, but she could not afford to lose herself entirely. I still need you to look after matters concerning my mother. Consider this a favor I owe you, and I shall remember it. As if awakening from a romantic illusion, Mu Yuyin reclaimed her former air of aloofness and pride, transforming into the icy, regal figure of a corporate queen. Qin Lang shrugged. So you're simply dismantling the bridge after crossing it? You summon me when it suits you, yet disregard me when it does not? Mu Yuyin wished to retort, but the words fell silent on her lips. With a cold huff, she remarked, if that is how you perceive it, there is nothing to be done. If there is nothing else, you may leave. Fine, I shall take my leave. Qin Lang was not angered. He merely cast a knowing glance at Mu Yuyin before turning to depart. Proud as ever, continue your cruelty. Enjoy your moment of torment. In time, you shall learn what it means to chase after a husband in a funeral pyre. It was merely a game, after all. Who could not play? We shall see who emerges victorious. Dressed in a sheer long gown, Mu Yuyin saw Qin Lang off at the entrance of the villa, waving goodbye. Be careful on the road. Send me a message when you arrive home. Her affectionate demeanor left the driver, Junzi, in awe, as the Maybach pulled away from Zhang and No. 1. Junzi remarked, young master, you truly are a remarkable talent. The little cow standing on its head is nothing compared to you. The former President Mu was once so haughty that her eyes seemed to nearly protrude from her nose. Every encounter had been met with disdain. Yet in just a few days, she had transformed entirely. Young master, have you already gotten on board? What do you mean by on board? We haven't even touched the wheels. Qin Lang muttered. The speed at which Mu Yuyin changed her demeanor was nothing short of masterful. Just moments prior, She had been poised and serious, yet upon seeing Junzi, her smile radiated with an innate theatricality. Truly impressive. He chose not to dwell on the matter further, silently invoking the system panel. Character, Qinlang age, 25 physique, 26 charm, 98 destined villain value, 36 200 skills, affinity 6 group affinity 60, advanced piano skills. Advanced T-art. In the marketplace, it has been activated, with the villainous destiny points reaching 30,000. The first level shop has been opened. The lottery center is now operational. Each draw costs 100 villainous destiny points. In the system inventory, there lies a photo album of Aunt Chio and 2 packets of soft tissues. During these past few days, Qinlang has accompanied the mother and daughter duo, yielding considerable gains. His favorability has skyrocketed, and the accumulation of villainous destiny points has been substantial. Moreover, with the thoughtful presence of Su Xiaoxiao, who occasionally feigns casualness to brush against his hand or nudge him playfully, he has garnered a plethora of villainous destiny points. Cumulatively, he has surpassed 30,000, thus meeting the criteria to unlock the system shop. Opening the shop reveals a shimmering, ethereal screen before Qinlang, displaying an array of products along with the requisite villainous destiny points for purchase. Physique 1, Physique below, 6,500 villainous destiny points. Physique 1, Physique below 100,000 villainous destiny points. Charm, 150,000 villainous destiny points. Skill, Advanced Aesthetic Appreciation, 3,000 villainous destiny points. Skill, Basic Medical Knowledge, 100,000 villainous destiny points. After perusing the offerings, Qinlang feels overwhelmed. What purports to be a system shop is merely a merchant's ploy. After toiling for several days, he has barely amassed over 30,000 villainous points. Yet the items available for purchase are dismally few. He expends 17,000 points to elevate his physique to 60 and another 9,600 points to enhance his affinity skill to level 8. With the remainder, he refrains from further purchases and opts for the lottery instead. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received a photo album of Lady Bai. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have obtained a set of advanced medical tools. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have acquired Physique 1. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have learned the skill of Advanced Aesthetic Appreciation. Upon the conclusion of the lottery, the system panel reads, Character, Qinlang. Age, 25 physique, 68 charm, 98 villainous destiny points, 0 skills, affinity 8, group affinity 80, advanced piano technique, advanced T-art, advanced aesthetic appreciation. Marketplace, activated, lottery center, active, each draw costs 100 villainous destiny points. System inventory, Anchio's photo album, 2 packets of soft tissues, Lady Bai's photo album, and 1 advanced medical tool. With his physique reaching 68, Qinlang experiences a fleeting sensation of invincibility, as if he were confronting a colossal mammoth, capable of shattering it with a mere punch. This illusion, however, stems from the rapid enhancement of his physique and a temporary lapse in self-awareness. As his body acclimates to this newfound strength, such feelings will dissipate, let alone a mammoth. Even the soldier driving ahead might prove to be a formidable adversary for Qinlang. Nevertheless, there is no rush. After all, it has only been a few days since he transformed from a state of deficiency into a vibrant figure capable of 7 exploits in one night. Before long, it is only natural that one would surpass Junzi. Before Yifeng's return, breaking 100 is also within reach. As the Maybach came to a halt in front of his villa, Su Xiaoxiao, inside the house, had already heard the sound and hurriedly rushed out. She timidly stood in the corner of the doorway, head bowed, murmuring softly, Young master, welcome home. Where did you learn such manners? Qinlang remarked. Did I not tell you that here is just like being at home? You should act freely and not be so restrained. Do you still not understand? He grasped Su Xiaoxiao's frail hand. Su Xiaoxiao attempted to withdraw her hand, but after several efforts, she was unsuccessful. When she lifted her gaze to meet Qinlang's half-smiling expression, her cheeks flushed crimson, and she ceased her struggles. She realized she had become somewhat muddled. Despite knowing that the young master often engaged in playful gestures upon seeing her, she still found herself rushing to greet him at the door upon hearing his familiar voice. Moreover, she had become enchanted by this scene. She was unaware whether her actions were subconscious or if she intentionally sought to draw nearer to the young master. Chapter 17. The foolish Su Xiaoxiao in the living room. Qinlang sat on the sofa, releasing Su Xiaoxiao's hand, and inquired with curiosity, Xiaoxiao, do you feel uncomfortable when I hold your hand? Otherwise, why do you always struggle so vigorously to break free? Or is it possible that you have someone else in your heart? Su Xiaoxiao gasped, her face paling. Young master, how could you say such things? Her heart raced erratically as she stole a glance at the troubled Qin Lang seated on the sofa, her mind a chaotic mess. What did the young master mean by this? In contrast to modern times, Su Xiaoxiao's age was indeed the tender bloom of youth, a period where romantic feelings first awaken, making her exceedingly sensitive regarding matters of the heart, especially with someone like Qin Lang, whose mere smile could inspire her to dream of him night after night. Her thoughts wandered uncontrollably. It was akin to an ordinary boy in class, who upon receiving a rare glance from the aloof class beauty, would find himself lost in thoughts, wondering if she fancied him. Why else would she keep looking back? Was she about to confess her feelings? Should he reject her or accept her? Adolescence is a phase not exclusive to boys. Young girls experience it as well, and Su Xiaoxiao was no exception. Clenching her pale fingers, she fiercely battled with the hem of her clothing, unsure of how to respond. If she spoke out, would the young master misunderstand and become angry, never wanting to hold her hand again? Yet, if she denied it, would he grow bolder in his advances, which frightened her? In that moment, she found herself ensnared in a web of inner conflict. Seeing her bashful demeanor, Qin Lang chuckled softly. You need not be so conflicted. There is nothing to worry about. If you have someone you like, just tell me. I already have a general understanding of your situation. At worst, I shall refrain from being overly familiar. That boy's name is Yifeng, correct? In the Sunshine Orphanage, the one who grew up alongside you, your childhood companion, seems to have gone missing? Do not fret. I firmly believe that good souls are destined for fortune, and he shall return one day, perhaps not too far in the future. Each word fell like a dull blade, carving a wound upon Su Xiaoxiao's fragile skin. Ultimately, Qin Lang plunged a sharp knife into her heart, wishing them a happy union. No, it is not as it seems. Young master, you have misunderstood. Su Xiaoxiao stammered, her voice tinged with the tremor of impending tears. In their youth, Su Xiaoxiao and Yifeng were indeed childhood sweethearts. But at such a tender age, how could they possibly comprehend the nuances of love? Furthermore, it was Su Xiaoxiao who often aided Yifeng in confronting the unruly children of the orphanage, enduring many beatings as a result of his entanglements. Their bond resembled that of siblings weathering hardships together, even in the early stages of the original story. Why are you crying? Qin Lang asked, pulling Su Xiaoxiao's delicate frame into his embrace, wiping away her tears. Did I say something wrong? Su Xiaoxiao pouted, feeling wronged, and let out a soft sound through her nose. Qin Lang, curious, inquired, what if Yifeng returns and wishes to pursue you? Impossible. Little Feng has always regarded me as an elder sister. Su Xiaoxiao shook her head, but upon noticing Qin Lang's furrowed brow, she added, if Little Feng truly behaves as you suggest, I would not accept him. I see him merely as a brother. Ding! Luck of the destined child, Yifeng, decreases by 1,000. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 10,000 villain points. Hearing the system's notification, Qin Lang felt a wave of relief wash over him. He merely intended to provide Su Xiaoxiao with a precautionary measure, not anticipating such an unexpected gain. Holding the trembling Su Xiaoxiao in his arms, he felt a stirring within. Though she was slender and delicate, her skin was smooth and taut, especially her long, exquisite legs, encased in white stockings, resting atop him, creating an undeniable allure. Young master, Su Xiaoxiao thought to herself, feeling a blush creeping up as she wished to lower her gaze. Qin Lang quickly shifted the topic, pinching her thigh. It has been several days. How are you still so thin? Did you not eat properly while I was away? I did. Su Xiaoxiao huffed, her cheeks flushed. She sensed that the young master was no longer preoccupied with Little Feng and felt a sense of relief. It was perplexing why the young master entertained such wild thoughts. Misinterpreting her relationship with Little Feng, she truly regarded Little Feng as her own brother, and it had been such a long time since his disappearance. She wondered if he had forgotten her as his sister. Let us add another dish for dinner. Let us make the usual 8 dishes and 2 soups, plus a papaya and pork rib soup. Su Xiaoxiao instinctively responded with a soft "oh." Her curiosity piqued as to why an additional rib soup was necessary. When she noticed Qin Lang's gaze lingering on her chest, causing her cheeks to flush, she quickly escaped from his embrace. What is wrong? Qin Lang sat comfortably with one leg crossed, his demeanor calm as he took the initiative to inquire. Su Xiaoxiao, feeling a blush of embarrassment, gave a soft hum and turned, darting up the stairs to the maid's quarters like a lively lark. With a resounding thud, she closed the door behind her, and, her cheeks flushed, collapsed onto the soft bed, burying her face in the pillow while repeatedly muttering the words bad guy. After a considerable time, Her face, stifled and crimson, was finally released, and she took deep, greedy breaths of air, her mind inevitably drifting back to the earlier encounter. She clasped her hands together at her chest, weighing her thoughts with meticulous care, spiraling into self-doubt. Was she truly too small? Did the young master prefer a more voluptuous figure? Would consuming papaya and pork rib soup genuinely help her grow a bit? As these thoughts swirled, Su Xiaoxiao scolded herself internally for her lack of dignity. Cradling her face in her hands, she rubbed it in frustration, exclaiming, "Ah, Su Xiaoxiao, why do you always indulge in such wild imaginings? What does it matter if the young master has a preference for larger figures? You must cease these foolish thoughts. The young master asked me to drink it, but I refuse. After all, he likes them big. Being smaller might just mean he won't hold my hand recklessly in the future." Chapter 18. Su Xiaoxiao. Truly tempting. Watching Su Xiaoxiao dash upstairs in a fluster, Qin Lang couldn't help but smile softly. She was truly a sweet and understanding little companion. A fitting title for her. This particular progression might be a tad swift for Su Xiaoxiao, but it posed no significant issue. A few days of moderation would allow her to regain her composure. "Young master, there seems to be some trouble at the Bai family." Junzi entered from outside, standing beside Qin Lang and glancing around with a hint of confusion. "Is Miss Su not here?" Junzi, in certain aspects, was quite astute. The treatment of a swan and an ugly duckling was entirely different. After witnessing Su Xiaoxiao's stunning transformation, even his manner of address had changed. "Upstairs." Qin Lang gestured towards the maid's quarters above. "It's fine, please continue." "What is the matter?" Junzi nodded and spoke plainly. "There are sounds of an argument coming from Bai household. Upon approaching, our people discovered it was the father and daughter of the Bai family quarreling. Moreover, from what we gathered from Bai Ruyu's fragmented remarks, it seems there has been a significant amount of cashing out occurring within the Bai company recently." "Understood." Qin Lang pursed his lips, a playful smile curling at the corners. The opportunity to strategize with the Bai sisters has finally arrived. Setting aside Bai Xiaoyun, the infatuated girl, Bai Ruyu, the more mature one, is undoubtedly a prominent figure in the business world. Among the elite financial graduates returning home, most are merely gilding their resumes. But Bai Ruyu stands apart. She possesses genuine talent and knowledge. Furthermore, she exhibits an exceptionally robust psychological fortitude, marking her as a future queen of commerce. This has been validated in the original narrative. How could Qin Lang possibly let such talent slip away? Since he has arrived in this world, it is only natural for him to require financial resources. He cannot perpetually seek assistance from the Qin family for every little matter. Acquiring sums of 10 or 8 billion might seem effortless initially, but should the frequency of such requests increase, his family might perceive him as idle and drag him back to Yanjing to inherit the family business. He certainly does not wish to be shackled by such expectations. There are still countless carefree days awaiting his enjoyment. If he were to establish his own company, it would not entail him being ensconced in the office day in and day out, laboring over his career that would hardly differ from his previous life. Bai Ruyu is the ideal candidate for delegation. Should he manage to win her over, her diligent and meticulous nature, coupled with her unwavering devotion to her partner, would undoubtedly allow Qin Lang to rest easy as a hands-off proprietor. Without hesitation, Qin Lang personally dialed the Bai family, expressing his desire to pay a visit. Given his status, even the Bai family would have no inclination to decline. After a few courteous exchanges over the phone, the arrangement was solidified. During dinner, Qin Lang frequently cast his gaze towards Su Xiaoxiao, who was sipping papaya soup. Not once did she lift her head, feeling utterly shameless for having declared 1,000 times in the upstairs bedroom that she would not drink. Yet, upon encountering the young master, all her self-reprimands crumbled, and she found herself consuming it voraciously, her little belly swollen with fullness. In the Bai family's grand estate, on the second floor, Bai Xiaoyun lay sprawled on the bed, engrossed in a pristine comic book featuring male protagonists who all appeared with an aura of flowers and brilliance. As for the plot, utterly dreadful, but Bai Xiaoyun was indifferent. She simply relished the sight of these super handsome characters, regarding everything else as secondary. Clad in adorable, lowly style attire, she became completely absorbed in her comic, her legs. Adorned in white stockings, occasionally kicking against the soft bedding, her cheeks puffed adorably, exhibiting a hint of baby fat. Creak! The door swung open, revealing Bai Ruyu, dressed in a standard black silk businesswoman's uniform. Upon seeing her innocent sister sprawled on the bed, she inhaled deeply. Burdened by her own concerns, she could only indulge this innocent and carefree girl. Yin Yin, how many times must I tell you not to lie down like that? It's not good for your health. Bai Ruyu approached, expressing her concern for her sister, who, like herself, bore greater burdens than her peers from a young age. Bai Xiaoyan responded with a soft "oh," shifting her position slightly. Bai Ruyu shook her head with a wry smile, feeling a deep sense of grievance that she could not share with anyone. Forcing herself to maintain a facade of cheerfulness as she asked, Yin Yin, do you have a boy you like? No. Bai Xiaoyan shook her head decisively. The girls at school have such poor taste. They all claim this one or that one is the school heartthrob, but when I look at them, they seem so ordinary. Not handsome at all. My boyfriend must be exceptionally handsome and treat me exceptionally well. The little fool, Bai Ruyu playfully brushed her sister's nose with her fingers. Filled with affection, even a fool possesses its own merits, for at least it does not easily develop affections for a young man. Thus, even after several years, it would not casually acquiesce to a marriage arranged by their father. As long as Bai Ruyu remains, she shall never permit her father to commit any actions that would bring harm to her younger sister, no matter the circumstance or the individual involved. It shall not be tolerated. Sister, are you upset again? I can hear it. You had a quarrel with father, didn't you? Bai Xiaoyan grasped her sister's hand, pouting as she implored, please don't argue with father anymore, all right? He treats me very well, and you treat me even better. I don't wish for you two to fight. Is that all right? Bai Ryu pondered inwardly. By conventional standards, Bai Xiaochun's way of raising his daughter could indeed be deemed commendable. Unfortunately, the younger sister remained oblivious. As she grew a tad older, she would come to realize that, in their father's eyes, daughters were never considered family, but rather mere pawns for the pursuit of personal gain. Chapter 19. The conflict between father and daughter. A golden opportunity for Qin Lang to pursue Bai Ruyu that evening. Bai Ruyu lay beside her sister, holding her tightly in her embrace throughout the night, fearing that her sister might drift away. As for Bai Xiaoyan, this adorably naive little girl, once asleep, remained utterly unmovable, occasionally suckling at Bai Ruyu's chest. Lost in dreams unknown, blissfully content. As night fell, the Bai household was abuzz with activity, illuminated brightly, with even the servants donning formal attire. In the living room, Bai Xiaochun leisurely perused outdated newspapers, quietly awaiting the arrival of guests. The arrival of the eldest son from the Qin family in Yinjing warranted a display of hospitality. Despite having some standing in Tianhai City, one must always uphold appearances. Dignity is paramount, and appearances matter. Furthermore, the offspring of wealth greatly value prestige, if treated well. One might even extract some semblance of worth from such a distinguished heir. Father, are we expecting guests tonight? Bai Xiaoyan inquired, her charming figure accentuated by her white stockings, which made her legs appear exceptionally fair and smooth. She bounded over, her face alight with curiosity. Bai Xiaochun's wife had passed away from illness in her early years, and he had not remarried, earning him accolades for his noble character. Perhaps his temperament had mellowed over time, for it had been quite a while since guests visited the Bai residence. Typically, social engagements occurred outside the home. Such a banquet at home was a rare occurrence. Bai Xiaochun reached out to gently pat his youngest daughter's head, smiling warmly as he replied, Indeed, a distinguished guest is coming. Who is it? Do I know them? Is it a man or a woman? Are they handsome? Bai Xiaoyun, ever the romantic, was unconcerned about anything beyond these questions, chattering away, with her final inquiry fixated on the guest's looks. They should be handsome, I suppose. Bai Xiaochun hesitated momentarily, shaking his head with a wry smile, admitting his ignorance as he had never encountered Qin Lang. However, logically speaking, someone from such a prominent family would likely possess favorable genes and not fall short in appearance. After all, what kind of wives do wealthy individuals seek? Each one more dazzling than the last. Isn't it remarkable? Bai Xiaoyan blinked her large eyes in wonder. Bai Xiaochun let out a wry smile and responded, Of course, it's impressive. He is the eldest son of a prominent family in Yinjing. As he spoke, he discreetly glanced at his eldest daughter. Bai Ruyu stood nearby, observing her father and sister's conversation, initially intending to remain silent. However, when she caught her father's gaze, she retorted, What are you looking at me for? I do not know that so-called young master. Are you hoping to pit me against him in a comparison? Bai Xiaochun discerned that his daughter was engaged in a dispute over unrelated matters and was deliberately attempting to undermine him. He replied softly, Compare yourself to him? Do you overestimate your worth? With your limited capabilities, how could you be on par with the legitimate heir of the Qin family in Yinjing? Do you realize that at the founding ceremony, his grandfather stood in the front row? And so what? It's merely a matter of having a slightly better family background. with the previous generation planting trees for the next to enjoy the shade. Bai Ruyu clenched her silver teeth, asserting he was not the only one in the front row. Each time her father instinctively elevated the status of men, while diminishing her own, an inexplicable anger surged within her, a mix of resentment and injustice. Just then, the butler hurried in, announcing, "Sir, young Master Qin has arrived." Bai Xiaochun stood up, straightening his clothes, his brow furrowed as he looked at Bai Ruyu. "Maintain your composure in front of others. Some discussions are best kept for home." As the butler led the way, a man in a fitted suit entered. Bai Ruyu instinctively turned to look, locking eyes with Qin Lang. In that instant, her restless thoughts seemed to be swept away by a gentle summer evening breeze, calming her tumultuous emotions as they met his gaze. Chapter 20. Preparing for opportunities in advance with the activation of the skill affinity. The overall affinity effect of 80 made even though she previously disliked calm in its presence, let alone the fact that Bai Ruyu was a stranger to Qin Lang. There were no barriers between them. While Qin Lang smiled at Bai Ruyu, he deliberately shifted his gaze to Bai Xiaoyun's face for a fleeting moment before quickly moving away. He was well aware of Bai Xiaoyun's infatuation tendencies. Just a taste would leave her craving more. As expected, the moment Bai Xiaoyun laid eyes on Qin Lang, her bright, almond-shaped eyes sparkled with excitement. "So handsome. This brother is so handsome," she thought. "How can his smile be so endearing? How can he be so tall? He is simply like a protagonist from a comic book. What if he were to pin me against the wall? Should I accept it or push back?" The infatuated girl's mind swirled. Just seconds ago, she had been lamenting Qin Lang's tardiness, feeling as if she might starve, but now, upon seeing him in person, all her concerns faded away. What did hunger matter? As long as there was a handsome guy around, she could go 3 days without food. Well, maybe just skip one meal. Yun Yun Bai Ruyue furrowed her brows and gently patted her younger sister's shoulder. Bai Xiaoyun, without turning her head, fixed her gaze on Qin Lang and complained reluctantly. "What's going on?" A series of tiny black dots appeared on Bai Ruyue's forehead as she tapped her sister's hand that was gripping her waist. "You tend to grasp the hem of your clothes when you're nervous. I don't blame you, but could you refrain from pinching my flesh next time?" "Oh." Bai Xiaoyun turned back, glancing at her hand that was clutching her sister's waist, and hurriedly released it, her face filled with guilt. "Sister, I'm sorry. It's nothing." Bai Ruyue replied with a wry smile, shaking her head. At the entrance, Bai Xiaochun and Qin Lang had already stepped inside, engaged in light-hearted banter, exhibiting a remarkable intimacy. "Dear nephew," Bai Xiaochun called out, and Uncle Bai followed, creating an impression that they were long-acquainted relatives to anyone unaware that they had only just met today. Qin Lang, while maintaining a respectful demeanor, inwardly marveled at the perks of being the villain. His prestigious background commanded respect, even from business magnate Bai Xiaochun, whose wealth exceeded hundreds of billions. Despite Bai Xiaochun's current cordiality, he was known for his keen eye for status. It was only because of his lineage that Qin Lang enjoyed such treatment. The same could not be said for ordinary individuals, as Bai Xiaochun's standards were exceedingly high. Who are these two beauties? Qin Lang feigned ignorance, looking at the Bai sisters. Bai Xiaochun, pointing to his eldest daughter, began the introduction. "This is my eldest daughter, Bai Ruyue, 25 years old, the same age as you, young Qin. She studied abroad and has only recently returned." Bai Ruyue stood at approximately 1.65 meters, and with her high heels, she approached 1.72 meters. Her graceful figure accentuated the curves of her black uniform exquisitely. Her prominent bust created a striking visual impact, raising concerns about how the buttons of her fitted blazer could withstand such pressure. It appeared precariously close to bursting, as if with the slightest movement, it might free itself from its constraints. Yet, despite her alluring figure, Bai Ruyue's waist was as slender as a willow branch, delicate to the touch. The exaggerated contrast between her curves was dizzying, evoking a desire to lose oneself in her captivating embrace. The black pencil skirt was equally appropriate, perfectly enveloping her graceful contours. She epitomized the term devilish figure, and when one turned to her exquisite visage, bright eyes, pearly teeth, elegantly arched brows, a delicate nose, and luscious lips, she truly deserved the title of a woman of fortune, a quintessential leading lady. "Miss Bai, hello, I am Qin Lang. It's a pleasure to meet you." Qin Lang extended his hand in a friendly introduction. Initially, Bai Ruyue had an excellent first impression of Qin Lang, seeing him as a refined gentleman, possessing an extraordinary charm befitting a man of noble lineage. However, witnessing her father's overt warmth, her sentiments soured, and she offered Qin Lang a cool handshake. Exchanging no further words, Bai Xiaochun concealed her displeasure, opting instead to introduce her youngest daughter. Bai Xiaoyun, however, required no such introduction from her father. She was already eager to meet the handsome elder brother. Taking the initiative, she pointed to herself with a beaming smile, exclaiming, "Handsome brother, I am Bai Xiaoyun, the younger sister, currently a freshman at Tianhai No. 1 High School. Do you like my sister?" Qin Lang was momentarily taken aback by the question. Ignoring her sister's cough nearby, Bai Xiaoyun eagerly grasped Qin Lang's large hand and boldly added, "If you don't like my sister, you can wait a few years until I grow up, and then I can be your wife, all right?" She gestured to her own figure, continuing with a mixture of reluctance and confidence. "Brother, don't be deceived by my small stature now. In a few years, I will surely possess a figure even more alluring than my sister's." "Small? Not at all. Truly not small." Qin Lang discreetly glanced at the barely adolescent Bai Xiaoyun, who was already blossoming into a figure of feminine allure. With a fiery physique, she would undoubtedly captivate a host of admirers if clad in a professional uniform. Yet this little girl preferred a cute aesthetic. Dressed in white stockings, with her cherubic cheeks, sparkling big eyes, and a delicate nose, her pouting lips appeared irresistibly luscious. Was she not the rare embodiment of youthful beauty? Nonetheless, Qin Lang maintained his composure, choosing to feign sternness. He gently patted Bai Xiaoyun's head, advising little sister, "You must study diligently. Your sister is so exceptional. If you do not apply yourself, you will fall behind." Bai Xiaoyun instantly deflated like a puncture balloon. She had merely suggested catching up to her sister in terms of physique, not academics. Her sister had always been bright, hailed as a genius by many, and had completed in less than 4 years what others typically took 7 years to accomplish while studying abroad. In this regard, she felt no confidence. Bai Ryu, observing the interaction, cast a grateful glance at Qin Lang before leading her sister aside to offer comfort. She recognized her sister's infatuation, but had not anticipated that Qin Lang would leverage this to motivate her sister to study. It must be said, one remark from Qin Lang proved far more effective than her months of earnest admonitions. At the very least, her sister now seemed to regret her past lack of diligence in her studies. Qin Lang responded with a warm smile, his primary focus for the day resting on Bai Ryu, while he took his time with Bai Xiaoyun. There was no rush, as matters must unfold in their proper order. Chapter 21. Intoxicated confessions captivate Bai Ryu under a warm reception. Qin Lang was shown to his seat. The gifts he had brought along were embraced by Bai Xiaoyun and placed in the living room. The Bai household buzzed with activity, as an array of dishes was continuously brought from the kitchen to the dining table. "My dear nephew, it's a rare occasion for you to visit. Today, you must indulge me in a drink," Bai Xiaochun proclaimed from the head of the table, personally filling Qin Lang's glass to the brim. An overflowing cup signifies a fond farewell. The wine flows abundantly, a gesture to welcome guests. Qin Lang, not relying on his lineage for pride, rises to raise his glass, proactively toasting to Bai Xiaochun. He gently clinks his cup against Bai's, humbly stating, "It is I who am ignorant of etiquette, allowing my esteemed uncle to pour the wine. I shall drink a cup in penance. Please forgive me." With that, he tilts back a cup of Maotai, draining it completely without a drop left. "Ha ha, dear nephew, where have you conjured such a notion of propriety? You make this old relic feel a bit flustered." Bai Xiaochun takes a sip, feigning discontent, yet inwardly, he is immensely pleased. The more he observes Qin Lang, the more favorable he finds him. As the legitimate heir of the Qin family in Beijing, a true scion of a prestigious lineage, even in their camaraderie as peers, Bai Xiaochun, despite any irritation, would never dare to cause harm to Qin Lang. Yet, Qin Lang humbly refers to himself as a mere youth, truly embodying decorum and the grace of a distinguished family. The meal unfolds with gusto, wine flowing and dishes savoring. After several rounds of drinks and a variety of dishes, Bai Xiaochun, feeling slightly inebriated with a rosy hue on his cheeks, chuckles, "Dear nephew, why forsake the grand estate in Beijing to venture to this Tianhai city to establish an investment firm?" Tianhai City, while a relatively affluent metropolis in China, pales in comparison to the grandeur of Beijing. One might wonder why Qin Lang would abandon such a prosperous legacy. It could lead an outsider to surmise that he had failed in a familial power struggle. Of course, those with a modicum of insight would not entertain such baseless musings. For the vast Qin family boasts only Qin Lang as its sole grandson, rendering any notion of rivalry moot. Qin Lang's cheeks flush, a bit tipsy, and he self-deprecates. "My esteemed uncle may not be aware, but in Beijing, many regard me as a debauched scion, relying solely on my family's influence, devoid of any true capability. They say that even a dog, given my heritage, could perform better than I. Nonsense. A chorus of envy-driven drivel. By Xiaochun mutters, yet he inwardly concurs, smiling as he retorts. So, dear nephew, you intentionally ventured to Tianhai City, eschewing your family's influence, wishing to carve out your own path and prove your worth to your skeptics? But why then visit my Bai family alone? Qin Lang nods, rubbing his eyes in a daze. Esteemed uncle, you built your vast enterprise from the ground up, relying solely on your partnership with your spouse, establishing a significant presence in Tianhai City. It is only fitting, as a newcomer or a junior, to pay my respects and seek your guidance. Unbeknownst to Bai Xiaochun, as Qin Lang feigned drunkenness and uttered the word spouse, Bai Ruyu, seated across the table, clenched her small fist tightly beneath the table. Ah, dear nephew. You may not know. Bai Xiaochun's tone becomes wistful as he reflects on his own circumstances. I have grown old, and no matter how splendid our family legacy may be, one cannot take it with him upon death. Despite the Bai family's current prosperity, who can say what will become of it once I am gone? How could that be? Qin Lang's eyes widened, appearing to outsiders as a drunken spectacle. He vehemently dismissed Bai Xiaochun's viewpoint, questioning how his uncle could utter such words. In the vast Tianhai City, who was unaware of the fact that the young lady of the Bai family had already managed the family business with remarkable proficiency at such a tender age. This savvy businesswoman had garnered countless whispers of admiration, with many claiming she possessed the same flair as her uncle in his prime. As long as the Bai family's esteemed daughter remained, their legacy would undoubtedly continue to flourish. Was it truly so? Did he genuinely believe this? Bai Ruyu's beautiful eyes sparkled with intensity as she fixed her gaze on Qin Lang, eager to decipher the true intentions behind his words. Yet, no matter how intently she stared, Qin Lang appeared dazed and oblivious, as though the thoughts had merely tumbled forth from his mind under the influence of alcohol. Bai Xiaochun's expression darkened. Having navigated the business realm for many years, his capacity for liquor was vast. Though his cheeks flushed, his mind remained lucid. Upon hearing Qin Lang's remarks, he felt increasingly displeased. Ultimately, a woman would marry into another family. How could she inherit the vast Bai estate? He did not shy away from voicing his thoughts, asserting that while Ryu was indeed capable, her status as a woman would burden her with domestic responsibilities, likely hindering her ability to devote herself fully to managing the family business. Once again, her efforts were dismissed on account of her gender. Bai Ruyu's eyes brimmed with tears, her frustration causing her body to tremble, the buttons of her blouse straining under the mounting pressure. She longed to retort, but was unexpectedly preempted. Uncle, your perspective is flawed. Qin Lang's voice grew stronger. In ancient times, Hua Mulan took her father's place in battle. Today, Bai Ruyu excels in the business world. Is that not a commendable tale? What is wrong with being a girl? Who says women are inferior to men? At least in my eyes, Miss Bai is far more accomplished than I. If the uncle was uncertain, there was no need for concern. With Miss Bai's capabilities, finding a husband willing to join her family would be more than sufficient. This arrangement would secure her own future while allowing her to wholeheartedly manage the family business. An advantageous duality. In that moment, both Bai Xiaochun and Bai Ruyu found themselves deep in contemplation. This statement served as a pivotal insight, prompting them to consider the feasibility of such an approach. Just as Bai Ruyu resolved to seek a suitable husband, Bai Xiaochun, having reached a conclusion, waved his hand dismissively. My dear nephew has had too much to drink. It's best for him to return home soon. Bang! Upon hearing this, Qin Lang, in his stupor, collapsed onto the ground, succumbing to unconsciousness. Bai Xiaochun was taken aback and turned to the waiting butler, stating bluntly, "Where is young Master Qin's driver?" "Never mind. Arrange a room for him to rest for the night." "To my room, my room." Bai Xiaoyun exclaimed jubilantly, her heart soaring with joy. How wonderful it was that the handsome brother had gotten drunk. Now, she wouldn't have to leave tonight, and she would have the chance for a private encounter. Bai Xiaochun approached with a scrutinizing gaze, causing Bai Xiaoyun to instinctively shrink her neck. I'll just sleep in the study next door, she thought. With such a handsome brother possessing a formidable background, what if he were to casually assign her a servant's room to sleep in? What if she woke up tomorrow in a foul mood? Ah Fu, please arrange for someone to escort young Master Qin to Xiaoyun's room, Bai Xiaochun sighed, rising from the dining table and making her way directly to the study. As Qin Lang was carried upstairs, Bai Ruyu sat at the dining table, biting her lip and watching her father's retreating figure, feeling an increasing sense of desolation. It was painfully ironic that even her own biological father was unwilling to place his trust in her, preferring to rely on outsiders. Chapter 22. The Midnight Intruder Ding. The protagonist by Ryu experienced intense emotional fluctuations. Congratulations, host. You have gained 500 villain points. Ding. The protagonist by Ryu's favorability has increased. Congratulations, host. You have gained 800 villain points. Ding. By Xiaoyan's favorability continues to rise. Congratulations, host. You have gained 1,000 villain points. As the system notifications echoed in his ears, Qinlang felt a profound sense of emotion wash over him. One action, double the rewards. Sisterly bonds truly bring joy. Rubbing his forehead, Qinlang took several deep breaths to calm his flushed cheeks. Did Bai Xiaochun really believe he could drink him into oblivion? Nonsense. In his previous life, he frequently encountered business dealings that involved excessive drinking, often leaving others in dire straits, requiring hospitalization for gastric lavage. Now, with his constitution vastly improved, he pondered how much he could actually drink, uncertain even in his own mind. Lying on the soft bed infused with the delicate fragrance of girlish allure, he surveyed his surroundings. The pink room was adorned with posters of handsome boys, showcasing a variety of hair colors. Truly, the little infatuated girl was charming. Her naive obsession was endearing, devoid of ulterior motives. Inhaling the warm, sweet aroma of the bedding, Qinlang guessed that Bai Xiaoyan must have lingered in bed before his visit. Following the lingering scent, he allowed himself a brief respite, opting not to rush. In the eyes of the Bai family, he was currently in a drunken stupor. Seeking out Bai Ryu now to express his intentions would appear overly calculated. Perhaps it was genuine fatigue, or perhaps the fragrant ambience of Bai Xiaoyan's room was conducive to slumber. But soon Qinlang found himself drifting into a light sleep. Creak! After an unknown passage of time, the Bai estate fell silent, and the door was quietly pushed open, emitting a faint sound. Had it not been for Qinlang's significantly enhanced physical condition, he would have been oblivious to the intrusion. A lithe figure stealthily slipped into the bed, her petite frame trembling slightly with excitement. Brother? Handsome brother? Bai Xiaoyan whispered tentatively. Qinlang, eyes closed, merely stirred and continued to feign sleep. Tonight, there are pressing matters at hand. I must seize the moment and subtly reveal my intentions to Bai Ryu as a precautionary measure. I cannot allow the foolish Bai Xiaoyan to hinder my plans. With a playful giggle, Bai Xiaoyan rose from her cocoon, stepped over Qinlang, and lay down on the other side, her large, glistening eyes sparkling like stars as they fixated on Qinlang's handsome face. How charming he is! Alas, I am still too young. If only I were a few years older, I could ask my father to arrange my marriage to this handsome brother. Bai Xiaoyan gazed at him, utterly smitten. No matter how she looked, she found no annoyance. The more she gazed, the more she adored him. Did she truly appear foolish? Only enamored with a handsome brother, devoid of intellect? Oomph. She was not that infatuated. Qinlang not only hailed from the illustrious family, but even her father felt the weight of his presence. Moreover, during the recent banquet, his eloquent words had eloquently supported her beloved sister. Most importantly, Qinlang's striking looks were mesmerizing. When he smiled, it felt as though she had been tossed into a pile of candy, sweetness overwhelming her senses. This dashing brother was undoubtedly the protagonist from a comic book. She would not let this opportunity slip away. Feigning a desire to provide Qinlang with a comfortable abode, she secretly harbored her own plans. Despite her occasional silliness, she was clever most of the time. What a perfectly sculpted nose, long eyelashes, and such thin lips. I wonder if they taste as sweet as they look. Bai Xiaoyan scrutinized him closely, and the clearer she saw, the more she appreciated his handsomeness. Even in slumber, his exquisite features aligned perfectly with her aesthetic sensibilities. Summoning her courage, she took a few tentative steps closer to Qinlang, pouting her luscious lips, yearning to plant a kiss. Yet, halfway there, she abruptly halted. Perhaps that was a bit too foolish. Bai Xiaoyan thought to herself. This was her first kiss. She hadn't even exchanged many words with this handsome brother before she would offer it so casually. At the very least, she should wait until he awakens to bestow it upon him. Oh, what a pity! Bai Xiaoyan mumbled softly, then nestled back into the covers, curling up in Qinlang's embrace, feeling the warmth of his chest and the defined contours of his abdomen, unable to resist caressing him. This evening, Bai Xiaoyan felt like Columbus discovering a new world, exploring and experimenting with increasing boldness. Ding! The protagonist, Bai Xiaoyan, experienced a surge of embarrassment, and congratulations were in order as the host gained 800 villain points. After her clumsy advance was thwarted and she was startled, she sprang up, her cheeks flushed, and fled in a panic. There was a somewhat merciless undertone to her retreat. Once the door was securely closed, Qinlang opened his eyes with a wry smile. feeling utterly helpless. This by Xiaoyan. She truly outdid Mu Yuyin in her audacious antics. In the stillness of the night, he spent nearly 3 to 4 hours beside him, tirelessly exploring his physique. As midnight approached, Qin Lang was on the verge of abandoning his quest to find Bai Ruyu, contemplating instead to awaken and impart a lesson to the little rascal by Xiaoyan. Yet, this fellow had the audacity to deceive him, displaying a complete lack of martial virtue, and then nonchalantly fled without a care. Such conduct is utterly unacceptable. Despite his grievances, Qin Lang found himself rather fond of Bai Xiaoyun's naive disposition. In contrast to the treachery he frequently encountered, he preferred the simplicity devoid of ulterior motives. After restoring his clothing to its rightful place, he glanced at the pink alarm clock on his desk, realizing that Bai Ryu had long since retired for the night, and thus relinquished any further thoughts. Surrendering himself to slumber, he slept soundly until the next morning, only to find that Bai Ryu had yet to appear in the Bai family courtyard. During his morning ablutions, he fortuitously encountered Bai Xiaoyan clad in her little polar bear pajamas. Upon seeing Qin Lang, the girl blushed as if caught in wrongdoing, and in her pink slippers, she turned on her heel and dashed away without a backward glance. Chapter 23. A serious discourse on tea after enjoying breakfast at the Bai residence. Qin Lang finally settled into the back seat of a Maybach, amidst the insincere invitations from his pretentious cousin to visit more often. As the vehicle departed, Junzi sighed, "Young master, from now on, I shall not lean against walls when relieving myself, but instead support you." The Bai family, after all, was a prominent clan in Tianhai City, particularly Bai Xiaochun, who had risen from nothing in his youth to amass a fortune worth hundreds of billions. It was astounding that after just one visit, the illustrious Bai Xiaochun had been so captivated. Captivated? Qin Lang scoffed. It is the likes of Bai Ruyu, a stunning beauty, who captivates. As for Bai Xiaochun, he is merely subdued at best. Besides, do you truly believe that Bai Xiaochun has genuinely forged a bond with me? Beneath his eager facade, he likely wishes I would vanish far away. Bai Xiaochun? That name doesn't suit him. He ought to be renamed Dark Filth instead. Junzi could not help but chuckle. Although Bai Xiaochun was exceedingly courteous, Qin Lang's demeanor was decidedly poised and respectful, treating him with a reverence one would afford an elder. Yet just upon exiting, he had already dubbed Bai Xiaochun Dark Filth. It was truly amusing. During this period, Junzi had discerned that the young master had undergone a transformation, appearing to smile outwardly while perhaps harboring darker thoughts inwardly. Clearing his throat, Junzi stated with gravity, "Young master, the Blood Wolf mercenary group you instructed us to investigate has arrived in Tianhai City, and there are some irregularities concerning Miss Su. It appears she may have made contact with Yifeng. However, due to Miss Su's status, we are not in a position to scrutinize her chat records." The Blood Wolf mercenary group was an organization established abroad by the Son of Fate, possessing a certain influence, though not vast. It certainly held its ground in the tumultuous expanse of Africa. Moreover, Yifeng, as the founder of the mercenary group, was notorious, wielding the power over life and death. Certainly, that must be in a foreign land. Upon returning to China, even a tiger must crouch, and a dragon must coil. A mercenary group? 47? Have you considered the East Wind Express, with its same-day delivery service? Once they set foot in China, the Blood Wolf mercenary group's members will be deprived of their firearms, reducing their strength to merely a fraction, comparable at best to the bare-handed prowess of special forces, unable to stir significant trouble. However, there remains more than half a month until the return of the fated child, and it is peculiar that members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group appear in Tianhai City at this juncture. Could it be that he has altered the narrative, prompting Yifeng's return to be hastened? Returning, there is also Kai Yong's side to consider, instructing Qin Lang to methodically delegate the tasks ahead. A few days prior, after being soundly thrashed by him, Kai Yong has been apologizing through various channels, pledging his willingness to atone for his sins. It just so happens that he requires personnel from the real estate company. Why not take advantage of the situation? No, wait. Given Qin Lang's stature, it would not be appropriate to call it taking advantage. Rather, it is providing Kai Yong with an opportunity for redemption. Yet, there remains a shortage of manpower. Leaning back in his chair, Qin Lang inhaled deeply, gazing out the window. Even Yifeng possesses an organization as formidable as the Blood Wolf mercenary group, while he is surrounded by merely a handful of bodyguards. Reinforcements are indeed necessary. That night, the stars shone brightly. Su Xiao, clad in a form-fitting black silk dress, perfectly accentuated her graceful figure. As she walked toward the orphanage, her mind was a tempest of thoughts. Xiao Feng has returned, and the subtext of his words seemed to resonate with the young master's suspicions. Moreover, he had already dispatched someone to meet her. Should she go to this meeting? On one side is her younger brother, whom she has protected since childhood, and on the other, the young master who invades her dreams nightly. Regardless of which side she considers, it is difficult to sever the ties. Although Xiao Feng's insinuations were palpable, perhaps she is merely overthinking. At the very least, when they finally meet again, she can clarify her feelings, expressing that she has always regarded him as a brother. Having come to this realization, a smile gradually blossomed on Su Xiaoxiao's face as she playfully chastised. Xiao Feng, this fellow, has struck it rich, and his audacity has grown. Once he called me Sister Su, but now he dares to address me as Xiao Xiao. She pondered why the director had summoned her at such a late hour. His tone so fervent. With curiosity piqued, Su Xiaoxiao quickened her pace, arriving at the dilapidated old orphanage that lingered in her memories. Upon witnessing the scene before her, Su Xiaoxiao was left dumbfounded. The remnants of walls lay scattered, and the already cramped orphanage had lost even its outer walls, shrinking in size by half. The colorful sign of Sunshine Orphanage, once a proud emblem, had been violently torn in two, its fragments discarded on the ground. What is happening here? Has the orphanage been forcibly demolished? Who are you? What are you doing? By what right do you dismantle the Sunshine Orphanage? This is illegal. Su Xiaoxiao rushed forward, tugging at a contractor overseeing the demolition, her voice ringing with urgency. She had long been aware of the real estate company's interest in the Sunshine Orphanage, yet negotiations for compensation had faltered. The amount offered was barely sufficient to construct even half of a new orphanage. If the demolition proceeded, the children would be left without a place to call home. Who are you? What are you doing here? Can't you see the demolition taking place? The contractor frowned, retorting sharply, "Don't shout at me. I'm merely here to do my job. If you have an issue, go find Boss Qin. It's him who ordered the demolition." Boss Qin? Which Boss Qin? Su Xiaoxiao pressed back defiantly. The Sunshine Orphanage held her childhood and her aspirations. She yearned to repay the director, to earn a substantial fortune and donate it, enabling him to provide a peaceful haven for more homeless orphans. Yet now, witnessing the desolation before her, her dreams felt utterly shattered. The contractor rolled his eyes in annoyance. "It's Qin Lang from the Qin Tianxia Investment. Can you kindly not cause a disturbance? Step aside." Stumbling from the shove, Su Xiaoxiao retreated, her beautiful eyes glazing over. In her mind, the image of the gentleman with a gentle smile began to merge with that of the ruthless boss commanding the demolition of the orphanage. Gentleman? How could it be him? This is impossible. Nearing collapse, she sank to the ground, tears escaping from the corners of her eyes, falling like pearls onto the dust-laden demolition site, staining the earth with their moisture. Chapter 24. This wave? This wave is an unavoidable calamity for Su Xiaoxiao. A torrent of emotions, injury, helplessness, despair, flooded her chest in an instant. She trembled uncontrollably. Why? Why must it be him? Had he never truly relinquished his thoughts on the orphanage? Were his discussions about the orphanage merely pretexts for forcibly seizing its land? A suffocating sensation enveloped her heart, causing her immense pain. It hurt. It was unbearable. Under different circumstances, she might have felt anger and a desire to fight back against another owner. But knowing that the mastermind behind the demolition was Qin Lang, an inexplicable sorrow enveloped her entire being. Deceit? Betrayal? Or was it merely a cruel game of cat and mouse? Young master, a soft call drew Su Xiaoxiao's attention. She lifted her head, her vision blurred by tears, and saw Qin Lang emerging from the residential area behind the orphanage, his familiar and handsome face igniting a wave of regret and embarrassment within her. She dashed forward without a second thought. "Xiaoxiao, what are you doing here? Why did you come here at this late hour?" Qin Lang's expression was tinged with a hint of anxiety as he cast a glance towards the half-demolished orphanage nearby, while simultaneously shooting a glare at the contractor who had called out to him earlier. Su Xiaoxiao's delicate cheeks were still stained with tears, and witnessing Qin Lang's flustered demeanor filled her heart with profound sorrow. Perhaps even the young master had not anticipated her appearance here tonight. Otherwise, why would he appear so agitated? There is no greater grief than that of a heart that has lost hope. She truly wished to believe that Qin Lang could not be such a heartless employer, yet the evidence lay starkly before her, leaving no room for doubt. "Why are you crying? Who has wronged you?" Qin Lang asked, his heart aching as he reached out to wipe the tears from Su Xiaoxiao's face. In the throes of betrayal and shattered dreams, she struggled intensely, her mind a whirlwind of tangled thoughts. The anger within her, already suppressed to its limits, urged her to claw at Qin Lang, but now, standing before him, all she could do was unleash her pent-up grievances upon her clenched fists. Why? Why must it be you? Why are you forcibly demolishing the orphanage? So many children have finally found a place to call home. Why must you covet this small piece of land? Su Xiaoxiao cried out in anguish, colliding into Qin Lang's embrace, her small fist striking against his chest like rain, tears streaming down her face, sparkling under the glow of the demolition lights. You villain, you great villain. My colleagues were right. You young masters take delight in tormenting others. Why do you bully me? Why? Qin Lang, with an inclination towards masochism, allowed Su Xiaoxiao to pound on him without resistance, even pushing his chest forward in a provocative manner. Strike me. Hit me. The harder you hit, the more remorse you'll feel once you learn the truth. Only when Su Xiaoxiao was nearly exhausted did Qin Lang finally grasp her delicate wrist, his expression filled with indignation as he retorted, Xiaoxiao, what are you saying? What do you mean by me occupying the orphanage's land? Due to her overwhelming anger and exertion, Su Xiaoxiao's face was not only streaked with tears, but also flushed with color. Gazing into the strikingly handsome face so close to her, one she had often dreamt of, was excruciating. She pointed towards the demolition site, where the orphanage lay in ruins, the reality stark before them, leaving no room for explanation. From the moment he had asked her to remain, had he not already intended to seize the orphanage's land? It was no wonder her imagination had wandered in this direction. After all, when the precious Yuan dynasty blue and white porcelain was shattered, Qin Lang's first demand had been for her to persuade the director to sell the orphanage's land at a low price. At the core, he was merely a businessman. With no other options available, he resorted to the means of demolition. And then there was the director's urgent phone call summoning her, only to abruptly hang up, clearly not wanting her to provoke this formidable employer. Everything became clear. Qin Lang remained silent, enduring the brunt of Su Xiaoxiao's fury. Even as she pointed her finger at him in reprimand, he chose not to respond. Until Su Xiaoxiao calmed down, he slowly began to speak, his brows knitted tightly, his expression rife with anguish. With a hint of self-mockery, he questioned, Xiaoxiao, do you truly perceive me as such a selfish and petty individual, willing to deceive you for the sake of a mere profit from land? A jolt ran through Su Xiaoxiao's heart, as if she had committed a grave wrongdoing, causing her to soften instinctively. Yet, turning her gaze towards the forcibly demolished orphanage, her resolve hardened, and she rebuked, is that not the case? Do you still intend to argue your point here? Their heated exchange attracted the attention of numerous workers on site, including an elderly lady with silver hair who emerged from the community. Xiaoxiao, what brings you here? The director instinctively smiled upon seeing Xiaoxiao. But as he approached and sensed the tension in the atmosphere, he inquired with suspicion, young Master Qin, Xiaoxiao, what is happening? Have you had a quarrel? Director, do not be afraid. We are in the right. Even if it gets out, we need not fear him. Su Xiaoxiao grasped the director's rough hand, standing resolutely by his side, biting her lip with unwavering determination. Her beautiful eyes radiated the same resolute spirit as when she had stood before Qin Lang. Facing a slap from Kai Yong, she was unafraid, for she felt no grievance in her heart, believing wholeheartedly in the righteousness of her actions. What is there to fear? Xiaoxiao, what nonsense are you speaking? Why does it sound as if young Master Qin is a villain? The director forced a bitter smile. With a look of inquiry, Su Xiaoxiao pointed towards the demolished orphanage. Is he not the villain? The orphanage has been forcibly taken down. The director rolled his eyes in exasperation. Xiaoxiao, why are you speaking such absurdities again? What do you mean by forcibly demolished? Our orphanage has long been in disrepair, classified as a dangerous building. The demolition was entirely warranted. Moreover, young Master Qin has purchased an apartment within Sunshine Community to serve as a new orphanage, expanding its area 4 to 5 times. Soon, every child will have their own little room. As he spoke, the director handed over the property deed left by Qin Lang, smiling kindly. Young Master Qin, your assistance is a blessing for our Sunshine Orphanage. We cannot accept this deed. It is far too valuable, worth 50 million. Even if it were to demolish 10 of our orphanages, it would not equate to this. In business, how can one allow you to suffer such a loss? Chapter 25, Pain, Regret. Gil Qin Lang pushed the property deed away, politely declining. Director, keep this deed. After all, it is meant for the children's residence. It would be more reassuring in your possession. The director's face lit up with gratitude. But young master, this matter has required so much of your effort. You agreed to the landowner's exorbitant demands just to be nearby. 50 million. That is an unimaginable sum. In all my years, I have never seen such wealth. Qin Lang shrugged, a somewhat forced smile gracing his lips. This is also to facilitate the children's future education. After the orphanage is demolished, a new primary school will be built, providing a place for the children to learn. The director felt warmth in his heart as he gazed at Qin Lang, increasingly convinced that he embodied the true essence of what a businessman should be, greater capability leading to greater contributions to society. Once again, Su Xiaoxiao cast a glance at the scene, feeling a pang of guilt as she attempted to explain, "Young Master Qin, this matter is entirely my fault. I had no idea you intended to surprise Xiaoxiao." I immediately called her, but in the ensuing flurry of discussions regarding the apartment purchase, I neglected to return her call. "Please, with your magnanimity, do not hold it against Xiaoxiao. She meant well, but her deep attachment to the orphanage led her to misinterpret your intentions in a moment of anger." Su Xiaoxiao stood there dazed, absorbing the conversation between the director and Qin Lang, as if her entire worldview had been shattered. The orphanage was not being forcibly dismantled. It was the young master who, recognizing its dilapidation, had arranged for its demolition in order to construct a new primary school, providing the children with a place to acquire knowledge. Furthermore, he had spent a staggering $50 million, fully aware that the real estate company was taking advantage of him, to purchase an apartment close to the school for the children, thereby offering them living conditions far superior to what they had previously known. Most strikingly, the director had hung up the phone not out of fear of attracting malevolent forces, as Su Xiaoxiao had initially thought, but because the young master had intended to surprise her, only for it to be inadvertently revealed. A cacophony echoed in Su Xiaoxiao's mind. Her thoughts were a blur. The young master was not the unscrupulous owner she had envisioned, who would demolish the orphanage for profit. Instead, he was sacrificing his time, effort, and wealth solely to renovate the Sunshine Orphanage and present her with a surprise. How could this be? Why would he go to such lengths for her? It was more perfect and moving than any dream. Had she known all this just half a day prior, she would have been utterly melted by such an outpouring of warmth and affection. She would have thrown herself at the young master, willing to devote everything she had to him. But now, no, she no longer possessed that right. The young master was so exquisitely perfect, his every effort enough to touch the heart of any girl. Yet, she had not only failed to express gratitude, but had even accused him of being heartless, of deception and betrayal. She felt like a wolf in sheep's clothing, a treacherous ingrate. Her actions could only be deemed as repaying kindness with malice. A sharp intake of breath pierced the air. Qin Lang's brow furrowed deeply, his expression pained, and he slumped to the ground in a state of utter disarray. "Young master." Qin Xiao, Su Xiaoxiao, and the director rushed to his side, as did several of the contractors. "Young master, what is wrong? Please don't scare me. Are you all right? Where does it hurt?" Su Xiaoxiao clutched Qin Lang's slender frame from behind, preventing him from collapsing, her tears cascading like a broken kite onto his shoulder. Qin Lang gritted his teeth, shaking his head in anguish. "I'm fine, truly. Just a little pain." "Where? Where does it hurt?" Su Xiaoxiao leaned closer, her heart racing, her anxiety and fear erupting in that instant. Qin Lang raised his hand, trembling slightly, and gently poked at the area over his heart a few times with a feeble sigh, exclaiming, "It hurts here." The director, astute and shrewd, observed Qin Lang's demeanor and immediately took a few steps back, creating a space for Qin Lang and Su Xiaoxiao to be alone together. However, Su Xiaoxiao remained oblivious to the peculiarities around her. Her heart was solely devoted to Qin Lang, unable to divert even a fraction of her attention. Her delicate, smooth hand tenderly caressed the area over his heart, while she sobbed in concern and anxiety, softly asking, "Is it better now, young master? Why did you suddenly feel this pain?" As her words lingered in the air, Su Xiaoxiao's expression froze as memories of her own previous anguish flooded back. Reflecting on it now, did she not experience a heart-wrenching pain in her own chest? Did the young master share this same feeling? To her surprise, she realized that in the young master's heart, she was not merely an accessory, but a girl capable of evoking his concern. This epiphany brought a fleeting joy, soon eclipsed by waves of guilt and unease. Kneeling on the dusty ground, she choked back her emotions, one hand gently patting Qin Lang's back while the other softly soothed his chest. "Little Xiao, I should not have hidden this from you, leading to your misunderstanding. I am truly sorry. I am a terrible person," Qin Lang expressed earnestly, holding her delicate hand that rested upon his chest. The director, witnessing this exchange, chose not to linger and stood to leave, signaling to the workers to vacate the area. In a short while, the expansive space was left with only Qin Lang and Su Xiaoxiao, completely unaware of the outside world, as if they were ensconced in their own private realm. Young master, please do not say that. It's all my fault for overthinking, for speaking nonsense. Su Xiaoxiao vehemently shook her head, tears shimmering under the light as they cascaded down her cheeks. Overwhelmed by sorrow and regret, she pleaded, Young master, you can scold me or hit me. It's all my fault. If it weren't for my foolishness, you wouldn't be in this state. The little girl, unable to bear any injustice, particularly felt the weight of her intense guilt, knowing she had wronged a good person. She would rather endure tenfold physical pain than witness the young master in such distress, which tormented her psyche. As long as the young master could recover, she would be willing to endure anything. Do not cry. I do not blame you, Qin Lang said, attempting to wipe away her glistening tears. Yet the more he tried, the more the tears flowed, an unstoppable tide that had breached its dam. Please do not cry. All I wish is to see you happy, to bring joy to your days. The more you suffer, the more I feel helpless. I want to cry. I want to. Su Xiaoxiao stubbornly pouted her rosy lips, striving to hold back her tears as she rubbed the corners of her eyes vigorously. She did not want to cause the young master any more pain or sorrow. With great effort, she stifled her tears. After a considerable pause, Su Xiaoxiao, her delicate nose wrinkled, bit her lip and hesitated. Young master, what's wrong? Qin Lang, puzzled, inquired. Su Xiaoxiao choked on her words. Why are you so kind to me? The apartment where the children stay cost such a fortune. Haven Tu incurred a significant loss. Qin Lang chuckled. How could that be? I am an unscrupulous boss. A villain, after all. I would never engage in unprofitable ventures. Unscrupulous? A villain? If even the young master is unscrupulous and a villain, then what hope is there for good people? Su Xiaoxiao mused, her mind racing with doubt. Young master, do you have other plans? Qin Lang, adopting a serious demeanor, grasped her fragile hand. Of course I do. Consider this. Such a considerable sum was spent solely for you. You must compensate me, don't you think? And with the cost of the vase you broke, you ought to work off a debt of 400 or 500 years to me. Fear not. If you can't repay it in this life, then in the next, and the one after that, you shall remain with me. Su Xiaoxiao's cheeks flushed crimson, her head nearly lowering from the weight of his charming words. This night felt like a roller coaster ride, soaring to the heavens one moment and plummeting to hell the next. Her back was drenched in sweat from the emotional turmoil. While guilt gnawed at her, she was enveloped by a profound sense of happiness and security. Seeing the guilt and shyness in Su Xiaoxiao's eyes, Qin Lang felt it was time to alleviate his own weakness. He propped himself up and declared, Let us head home. This place is dusty and filthy. Su Xiaoxiao softly replied, Shall I call Brother Junzi to come pick you up? Qin Lang waved his hand dismissively. No need. As long as you're not upset, I am quite robust. Let us walk home together and enjoy the fresh air. Su Xiaoxiao, now holding his hand, glanced down and ceased her struggle, even exerting a bit more force to grasp Qin Lang's warm hand. Under the starry sky, shadows danced among the trees. The summer evening breeze swept through, causing Su Xiaoxiao's long hair to cascade like a waterfall, brushing against Qin Lang's cheek, releasing a refreshing fragrance that filled the air. They walked side by side, resembling a couple on a nighttime stroll. With her head bowed, Su Xiaoxiao gazed at her shoelaces, her thoughts wandering. The young master treated her with such kindness and affection. Now, holding hands and walking home together, had she become his girlfriend? Instinctively, she wanted to gauge Qin Lang's reaction. Just then, the hand that held hers abruptly released, forcefully shoving her aside. As she stumbled to regain her footing, Su Xiaoxiao looked up to see Qin Lang engaged in a struggle with a mysterious figure clad in black who had seemingly appeared from nowhere. With a sudden thrust, the cloaked figure slashed a knife across Qin Lang's arm, drawing blood. Young master, Su Xiaoxiao exclaimed in alarm. Stay back. Without turning his head, Qin Lang bellowed a fierce reprimand and launched an offensive against the enigmatic figure. Despite his lean appearance, Qin Lang possessed a formidable strength within. Under the relentless assault of his legs, the cloaked man was forced to retreat, his dagger clattering to the ground. Ultimately, the mysterious figure, unable to withstand the onslaught, attempted to reclaim the dagger but was met with a swift kick from Qin Lang, compelling him to flee. Young master, your hand is injured. Su Xiaoxiao rushed over, her expression fraught with concern. Without waiting for Qin Lang's command, she promptly dialed Junzi's number. They lingered there, and within 10 minutes, Junzi arrived, accompanied by a private physician. After a brief bandaging, the wound on Qin Lang's arm was adequately addressed. Junzi approached Qin Lang, his demeanor one of remorse. Bowing his head, "Young master, it is my fault for failing to protect you." Qin waved dismissively. "What does it have to do with you? I chose to return on my own." The movement of his arm elicited a grimace, and inwardly he cursed himself for not cooperating better earlier, as the dagger had inflicted a deeper cut than anticipated. Fortunately, his unique constitution mitigated the severity of the situation. Su Xiaoxiao gazed tenderly at Qin arm, now wrapped in white bandages, and inquired, "Young master, who was that man? Why do I want to harm you?" Qin shook his head in confusion, equally perplexed. Junzi revealed the dagger he had retrieved, adorned with peculiar engravings that were unfamiliar to them. Su Xiaoxiao's gaze fixed on the dagger, noting the vivid red wolf's head etched into the hilt, rendering her momentarily speechless as her mind went blank. Qin, unconcerned, waved his hand dismissively, suggesting they need not dwell on it. "We must enhance our security. There are many who seek my life, and it is impossible to investigate each one." Junzi drove them back to the villa. Su Xiaoxiao, still bewildered, confirmed that Qin's injury was not grave before hastily retreating to her room. As for Qin, he reclined on his bed and activated the system's notification sound. Previously, the incessant voice had grated on his nerves, prompting him to silence it. However, with matters settling, it was time to assess his gains. Ding! The female protagonist, Su Xiaoxiao, experiences intense fluctuations. Congratulations to the host for gaining 800 Destiny Villain points. Ding! The female protagonist, Su Xiaoxiao's affection level rises. Congratulations to the host for gaining 1,000 Destiny Villain points. Ding! The fortunate son Yifeng's luck points decrease by 500. Congratulations to the host for gaining 5,000 Destiny Villain points. Ding! The fortunate son Yifeng's luck points decrease by 1,000. Congratulations to the host for receiving a beauty pill, repairs external wounds, eliminates scars, and a prescription for the beauty pill. Listening to the system's notifications, Qin surmised that Su Xiaoxiao had likely deduced the dagger's significant connection to Yifeng, prompting her to return to her room and question him. He had no intention of involving himself in this matter. Excessive enthusiasm could lead to unjust blame directed at Yifeng. After all, Su Xiaoxiao had witnessed the events firsthand, and with the true member of the Blood Wolf Mercenary Corps now deceased, there were no witnesses to contradict her. Regardless of how much Yifeng might protest, his explanations would only sound like mere excuses. Setting the matter aside, Qin glanced at the system's backpack. He clicked his tongue, marveling at the truly abundant rewards bestowed upon the Son of Fortune. Not only were there villain points to be gained, but also a medicinal formula. This beauty-enhancing pill was undoubtedly intended for healing the scratches on his arm. He retrieved the beauty pill from the system's backpack and ingested it. The fiery sensation on his arm was soon engulfed by a wave of coolness. In a brief moment, the discomfort vanished entirely. He moved his arm and felt no trace of unease. He was completely healed. Chapter 27, Fortuitous Star. Preemptive activation, the beauty pill, as formula, a product of the system. It must be of exquisite quality. Qin scrutinized the formula provided by the system. The raw materials listed were all available on the market, though some principal ingredients were rather costly, such as a century-old ginseng. Nonetheless, having personally experienced the remarkable efficacy of this beauty pill, he was acutely aware that it not only mended injuries, but also erased scars and whitened the skin. It was clearly designed for the aesthetic desires of women. Of course, if mass-produced, it would be impossible to manufacture the beauty pill according to the proportions in the formula. The cost would be exorbitant and the potency too overwhelming. Perhaps diluting it 100-fold or 1,000-fold would make it suitable for market circulation. Just as he was contemplating this, his phone on the bedside lit up, displaying an incoming call from Mu Yuyan. Upon answering, he was met with a barrage of reprimands. "Qin, do you not comprehend my words? I asked you to call me when you got home. Didn't you take it to heart?" Qin was taken aback, recalling that Mu Yuyan had indeed mentioned something similar when he left the Jiangnan No. 1 villa, albeit with a forced smile. Did she still remember that? He replied stiffly. "Are you kidding, Mu Yuyan, President Mu? Must I report every single matter to you?" With a haughty sniff, Mu Yuyan retorted, "Isn't that expected given our relationship?" She was clearly agitated. Qin raised an eyebrow, bemused that a parting remark lingered in her thoughts until now, and that she hadn't confronted him until several days later. It seemed she had been entangled in her feelings about it all along, ultimately unable to restrain her outburst. He chose not to expose her distress, his tone turning playful. "What is this? Late at night, alone in the villa, missing me? Perhaps I should come over and keep you company for the night?" Mu Yuyan indignantly snapped back. "Dream on. Who is alone? Don't you dare come over. There won't be anyone to let you in. She continued, I have a serious matter to discuss. The Pinnacle Conference will be held in Tianhai City the day after tomorrow, where nearly all prominent entrepreneurs and tycoons will be in attendance. You're to accompany me. There was a brief silence on the line. Mu Yiyin pressed, are you going or not? Yes, Qin Lang replied. He recalled that Tang Tianpei had mentioned it during his previous invitation. Gatherings of this caliber were typically aimed at providing networking opportunities and channels for the wealthy. Surely, Bai Ryu would also be in attendance. Yesterday at the Bai residence, I found no opportunity to be alone with Bai Ryu. To seek her out blindly would likely arouse her suspicions. A chance encounter at the Dingfeng gathering would appear less intentional. We exchanged only a few words before Qin Lang abruptly ended the call. At Jiangnan No. 1, the villa where Mu Yuyin resides, she fumed, cursing Qin Lang for his audacity in hanging up on her repeatedly. Is he becoming too brazen? Her personal bodyguard, and Ning, observed with amusement. Miss, weren't you just as quick to end Qin Xiao's calls in the past? Did I? Mu Yuyin pondered, a flicker of doubt crossing her mind. She quickly defended herself. He was a nuisance back then, always pestering me. I had legitimate matters to discuss. After venting her frustrations, she turned to Ning, her expression shifting to one of suspicion. Do you sense something different about Qin Lang? And Ning nodded seriously. Indeed, his demeanor has transformed. He appears more handsome and reserved than before. How could someone undergo such a profound change in such a short span? Was there some hidden agenda? Mu Yiyin bit her lip, her eyes narrowing in contemplation. Do you think it's possible that Qin Lang's previous persona in Yanjing was merely a facade to cultivate a reputation as a wayward son? Given the stature of the Qin family, certain matters must be concealed. If he had showcased his excellence from the outset, many would likely have lost sleep over him. As for now, distancing himself from Yanjing merely to rid himself of a fiancée, such a rogue would hardly capture anyone's concern. Perhaps he had simply ceased the charade? That night, Mu Yiyin's mind raced, preventing her from finding rest. Meanwhile, Qin Lang, upon hearing a knock at his bedroom door, promptly ended his call to answer it. The light footsteps could belong to no one else but Su Xiaoxiao. Upon opening the door, he found Su Xiaoxiao standing there in the same black silk gown she wore upon her return, looking lost and guilt-ridden. Xiaoxiao, what is the matter? Are you unwell? His demeanor shifted dramatically as he ushered her inside, concern etched across his face. What happened? Su Xiaoxiao looked down, her expression one of deep sorrow. Young master, I have discovered who sent the person to harm you. Who is it? With palpable regret, Su Xiaoxiao replied, it was Xiao Feng. He contacted me while abroad, and I recognized the design on the dagger from a photo he sent. It's identical. Is it truly that coincidental? Qin Lang's heart raced. Surely there must be some misunderstanding. Though the design was indeed peculiar, it couldn't possibly connect to someone overseas, separated by thousands of miles. Su Xiaoxiao shook her head firmly. It must be Xiao Feng. The more Qin Lang defended Yi Feng, the deeper the guilt surged within Su Xiaoxiao. Before today, Xiao Feng mentioned that his subordinates had arrived in Tianhai City and wished to meet me. I had yet to contemplate this matter thoroughly, but with the events that transpired tonight, I sought out Xiao Feng, who obstinately refused to acknowledge anything. However, when I stated my intention to meet his subordinate tomorrow, he claimed that his subordinate had vanished without a trace. What a remarkable coincidence. Young master, I truly did not intend for this to happen. I was unaware that Xiao Feng would harbor such malicious thoughts toward you due to my closeness to you. Do not overthink it. It could merely be a misunderstanding. Qin Lang assumed the role of a congenial figure, gently embracing Su Xiaoxiao in his arms. Meet with Yi Feng's subordinate? What nonsense is that? The person is missing. How could Yi Feng possibly make contact? His phone could very well connect to the underworld. As this thought crossed his mind, Qin Lang tightened his embrace around Su Xiaoxiao. What a stroke of fortune. He had orchestrated this entire charade merely to lay a trap for Yi Feng. Remarkably, Su Xiaoxiao managed to unravel the tangled web of chaos and pull the thread that led to an explosion. Ding! The protagonist Su Xiaoxiao experienced a profound rift with the fated child of destiny. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 5,000 points of villainous destiny. In his embrace, Su Xiaoxiao appeared samwitanisi. Qin Lang released his firm grip and gazed down at the young girl, whose brows were furrowed, not in guilt, but seemingly in physical discomfort. He softly inquired, what is it? Are you truly unwell? With a flushed face, Su Xiaoxiao nodded and confessed, my stomach hurts. Given that it was that time of the month, she was already in a state of irritability and emotional turmoil. Coupled with the distress caused by the incident involving Yi Feng, she felt a weight of pent-up frustration in her chest. She had already misunderstood the young master once. The guilt that lingered had yet to dissipate, and now, Due to her, the young master had suffered at Yi Feng's hands. The combination of these two misfortunes only exacerbated her discomfort during this already challenging time. Qin Lang expressed concern. Let me accompany you to the hospital. Su Xiaoxiao shook her head. There's no need. This is not my first time. It will pass in due course. She forced a smile, attempting to reassure him. Young master, do not fret. How many girls go to the hospital during this time? Qin Lang, with a hint of suspicion, asked, Is it that time of the month? Su Xiaoxiao nodded softly, affirming, It's nothing serious. I just need to sleep it off. Still, we cannot do nothing about it, Qin Lang said sternly, guiding Su Xiaoxiao to lie down on his bed. Frowning, he added, You rest here and do not move. After saying this, he went downstairs. After a considerable time, he returned, bringing with him a bowl of red sugar water. Su Xiaoxiao, having indulged in her thoughts for quite a while, looked at Qin Lang with slightly reddened eyes and asked, Young master, did you just make this red sugar water? Qin Lang replied, What else could I do? Isn't it said that girls find it beneficial to drink red sugar water during this time? Did I not prepare it correctly? That is not what I meant. Su Xiaoxiao shook her head. With one hand, Qin Lang gently offered a bowl of brown sugar water to Su Xiaoxiao's lips, assuring her it was not too hot, urging her to drink to warm her stomach. Su Xiaoxiao sipped the sweet concoction, casting glances at Qin Lang, her heart swelling with warmth. The rich, yet not overly sweet, brown sugar water flowed into her stomach, reminiscent of honey sweetness. How benevolent he was, so warm and considerate. Yet he set aside his lofty status as a young master. She, Su Xiaoxiao, was merely an orphan girl from humble beginnings. What merit did she possess to deserve such kindness? Does it still hurt? Qin Lang inquired softly after placing the empty bowl on the table. Su Xiaoxiao responded with a smile. It doesn't hurt anymore. You deceive me. Do you take me for a fool? Qin Lang retorted sternly. If it doesn't hurt, why do you keep frowning? Lie down and let me massage you. As he extended his hand beneath the blankets, he inadvertently brushed against a forbidden area, causing Su Xiaoxiao to flush. Eventually, he settled his hand upon her flat, smooth abdomen, gently kneading. Su Xiaoxiao squinted her eyes in pleasure, emitting a soft hum from her nose. How warm, how soothing. Qin Lang's large hand seemed to possess a kind of magic, alleviating her pain. The throbbing discomfort truly lessened under his touch. Yet, the intimacy of the gesture felt a tad too close. Su Xiaoxiao's cheeks remained flushed, her composure unshaken, but not a word of rejection escaped her lips. She understood the young master's intentions. His upright nature was merely to ease her suffering. To voice any concerns would seem to misjudge his noble character. Moreover, if Qin Lang wished to take advantage, she would be inclined to acquiesce after their day together. Shift over a bit, and I shall lie beside you. This way, it will be easier to massage you, Qin Lang said, unabashed in his request. Su Xiaoxiao, blushing, complied shyly, soon finding herself nestled in his embrace, lying still like a small rabbit caught by the scruff of its neck. Qin Lang smiled inwardly, finding no cause for surprise. Just days prior, holding Su Xiaoxiao's hand had prompted her to squirm. Now they shared a bed. What more could he complain about? Different personalities required tailored approaches. For Su Xiaoxiao, who had lacked affection throughout her life, even the smallest gestures of care, such as preparing a bowl of brown sugar water, could evoke profound appreciation. This was why Qin Lang found joy in these simple acts. With one hand caressing her abdomen while the other remained still, Su Xiaoxiao's initially rigid form gradually softened. Gaining confidence, she eventually wrapped her arms around Qin Lang's chest, pressing her flushed face against him, stealing shy glances at his visage. As Qin Lang momentarily diverted his gaze, Su Xiaoxiao seized the opportunity, boldly placing a delicate kiss upon his cheek, akin to a dragonfly skimming the surface of water, before swiftly lowering her head once more. Such audacity! Qin Lang furrowed his brows, becoming serious at Su Xiaoxiao's brazen transgression. How could this be tolerated? A mere maid daring to act so insolently in his presence warranted some form of reprimand. Chapter 29. The Summit Gathering. At times, a kiss can indeed become an addiction. Such was the case for Su Xiaoxiao, who upon learning of Qin Lang's so-called punishment, eagerly challenged the young master's authority, in essence, seeking the punishment in a roundabout manner. After a few instances of reprimand, Qin Lang began to find the situation rather tiresome. It was not that he had lost interest in Su Xiaoxiao. Rather, he felt a sense of trepidation. A gentle and understanding companion, with a strikingly beautiful visage, would surely leave even the most composed of men, like Lu Xiaohui, utterly defenseless. Yet, What would happen if that flame within him were to be ignited? Qin Lang had no intention of disregarding Su Xiaoxiao's feelings throughout this long evening. A sweet and fragrant night swiftly passed. The following afternoon, under Qin Lang's guidance, Su Xiaoxiao, adorned in a floral qipao, diligently assisted in brewing tea. Her graceful figure was accentuated by the fitted garment, the side slit reaching just an inch above her knee, causing a fragrant breeze to swirl around her as she moved gracefully, revealing delicate beauty. At that moment, Junzi rushed in, urgency written across his face. "Young master." The Bai family, upon noticing Su Xiaoxiao's presence, he instinctively swallowed the words that hung at the tip of his tongue,